Hey guys, how's it going? Matt from Foul Ball Productions here. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope that you're doing well. I've been better. I am really hungover. A buddy of mine came over last night because he's leaving. He's leaving Los Angeles. Shouts to Kevin Doonan. He's leaving Los Angeles. He's going to Colombia, of all places. And we kind of had like a little, going away, get drunk kind of thing. And boy, oh boy, I hit that bottle of bourbon really hard. And I'm paying for it right now. I I guess I celebrated New Year's early. But that's why you're here, because it's New Year's Eve. Happy New Year's 2020. 2020 is over. Wow. Oh, hey, Lord Thoth. Good to see you, buddy. And follow his advice. Like, share, subscribe, hit the bell icon for more goodness, especially the Expanse. Thank you, Lord Thoth. Happy New Year's to you, my good man. Thank you for the love there. I appreciate that. Jake Diesel watching. Hey, buddy. Good to see you. That's all right, man. It's nice of you to pop in. I appreciate it. Happy New Year's to you, good sir. So it's New Year's. It's 2020. And I wanted to do a little stream ski to wrap up the year and kind of reflect on the crazy year that was 2020. What a year, huh? What a year. I think I was saying in my little MFer, if you haven't seen it yet, check out my new episode of the MFer. I put that out yesterday. Not doing great. Oof, God, excuse me. Not doing great as far as views are concerned, but I swear the content on there is really good. I thought it was a really good episode. Lord Thoth watched it. Thanks, Thoth. I think I was pointing out that the vision that I had for 2020, like when I started the year off, I was a new guy. I was sober. I was focused. I was writing constantly. I had a lot of ambition. I was like, this is going to be a good year. We're going to change things, man. Taking the bull by the horns. I am a big believer in New Year's resolutions. I think they're legitimate. I think it's a great chance for new beginnings. I think you should take that seriously. Personally, that's my opinion on it. And so that was what, that was my focus. I started working at this new spot. I was all pumped. Seemed like a great crew, really excited. And, the day we were supposed to open, COVID hit, closed it down. And it's been a wild ride ever since, man. It's been a wild ride. And I don't know. I don't know how you guys handled quarantine. Right away, I didn't handle it too great. I was hitting the bottle early. I was playing video games constantly. It's just a waste. It's a waste. And I don't know. I guess sometime around May or June, I had enough of all that. Had enough of just like wallowing, being bored. I mean, I live in LA. I don't know if you guys know that, but I live in Los Angeles, and we've been under lockdown for a long time. We've had little blips where you're allowed to leave, but for the most part, been locked down. And it's a little brutal, a little brutes magoots, as the history hyenas would say, a little brutal. And I don't know, you start to go a little stir crazy, start to go a little nuts, at least I did. And so I started doing this anyway, is the point of that. Eventually I started just doing this as like an outlet, as a way to, I don't know, do something, communicate with the world, have a little bit of fun. And I think it's probably the best decision I've ever made. At least one of them. At least one of the best decisions I've ever made, because it's fun. I get to meet awesome people like Lord Thoth. Hail, oof, snow, sleet, rain, yikes, oof, yeah, okay, I guess I should count my blessings. I don't have to deal with that here. But all these really interesting people, and I get to speak my mind. And as someone who's been in entertainment for most of his life, or at least trying to be, as it were, I don't know, this is the most empowered I've ever felt. It's the most confident I've ever felt in myself. Just the most in touch with how I feel about things. My brain, I think it works better. I think I'm like sharper, better listener. At least I try to be. And I am really pleased with the way it's gone. And it's pretty interesting, like starting off, because I mean, I was doing live streams with Lindsay, my buddy Lindsay, who's not with the channel anymore. She's got too much going on in her own personal life to make any kind of a commitment to this channel. Unfortunately, she is missed. But we would do it, and we would live stream. I don't know, sometimes 2-3 hours, and we wouldn't get a single live viewer, not one. And I didn't care. It was fun. It was like you're developing these skills. You're getting sharp. You're just talking about movies and talking about media and just, I don't know, just having a blast. And it's so cool to see that, like, it honestly has developed. I mean, there's people watching right now. Hail to all y'all. And that is so different. I mean, we were doing one stream. I think there was as many as like 15 or 20 people in the stream at one point, and that was wild, considering if there was one at any point, it would have been cool. And now, it's 20 times as many, and that's really exciting. It's really fun, and it's really cool to see like the effort kind of pay off. You put stuff forward and slowly build an audience, and people are watching, and then there's this whole community of people that I didn't expect that I would ever meet. And speaking of which, look who joined the stream. None other than the mighty Lord Thoth. Hey, buddy.
Happy New Year's Eve, my friend. It's great to see you here. I actually, as soon as you come on, I said, maybe I should check Discord. And hey, there it is. There's the link.
Right on. Good to see you, man.
That's good to see you too.
Happy New Year to you.
I can stay on for a little while. We're having our New Year's feast and celebration a little bit earlier. Yeah, we're going to have some lobster fajitas and some few glasses of bubbly, I think, and just sit back, maybe watch a movie, and then celebrate the New Year up here in Ottawa, where it's snowy and wet and cold, but that's okay because that means you have to snuggle more.
Here. Way to look at the bright side, my friend.
That's right.
I love it. Well, that's great, man. Any ideas on what movie you're going to watch?
I don't know. I think I'll leave it up to my wife. I think she's owed a romantic comedy or two. She's been watching a lot of the Hallmark ones alone, and I kind of sneak in, and she's like got this big grin on her face. Like, what are you watching? She says, Hallmark Channel. So yeah, we'll figure out something. It's nice to celebrate together.
Yeah, that's great. That's wonderful. I saw a really funny meme about the Hallmark movies, and it was just like a minute like summation of how formulaic they are, and it was really, really funny. The girl's like, Jeff Blorgeligi? Whoa, Karen Vanderplimlen? And it was all like, wow, you are handsome now. I knew you back in high school. It was so funny. It was such a good, it's just in the acting. It was just like, one of those 1 minute videos I watched over and over. Really funny.
Well, it's a different prince in a different country or a different princess or what. Like, it's the same thing over and over, right? But you know what? We watch the same kind of science fiction shows and over and over too, right? It's like Star Trek, Star Wars, Expanse. I guess it's all the sci-fi stuff. So you know what? If they enjoy it, let them watch it.
Sure, of course. Is that where your tastes overlap in the science fiction department?
Yeah, a little bit. She watches a couple of them with me. Like Supernatural was a good one for the both of us because I kind of like the werewolves and the vampires and the demons and all that, sure. and she likes the brothers,
right?
Which is good for her. Which is why I keep saying with all of the genre stuff that we're watching today, Fat Thor is a joke that is good for like the 5-minute joke it is, but to have him like that the whole movie, my wife just said, so you took one of the most gorgeous, buff, hot guys in the whole planet and you made him fat. So where is that a good thing? Right? I mean, it's funny for the joke, but then you get past it, right? So
I have a lot of problems with Endgame. I didn't really think it was that great. And I remember like a lot of people were just loving it and adoring on it. I think that's one of the weirdest things, like one of those like, at least I find it challenging, is when I see through something that's got all this hype around it, and everywhere you go, people are like, it was amazing. It was the greatest thing ever. And I'm like, it really wasn't. And people are like, oh, you don't like it? You fucking hate it. You got to have an alternative opinion. It's like, no, it was objectively bad in a lot of different ways. You know what I mean?
Agree.
Like, I hate that. Like, I hated that when The Force Awakens happened. I hate it when Endgame happened. Like, Endgame's fine, but it's like, boy, oh boy, did they take a long time getting there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I enjoyed the first one a lot more than I enjoyed the second one. Not to say that I didn't enjoy it. Now, as a purist and a comic book fan, there was obviously a ton of problems. That's a whole like long stream in and of itself, talking about the Marvel Cinematic Universe and how it kind of. I thought it ended a little flat in that last movie. I think that there were some jokes that fell flat. I think there was a lot of woke politics that were in the movie,
Sure.
and especially at the ending, you have your greatest characters that have made you literally billions of dollars, and you kill one off, you make another one an old white guy, and you make you make the third one like fat and going off to the Guardians of Galaxy universe. And I think they really kind of screwed themselves out of the next steps here. Now, if they could easily fix that. They've already set up the tropes, the time travel tropes, and the costume tropes, and they could obviously switch that up and get it back to the way it is. But these actors now are getting pretty old, so it's time to recast them and start over. Or not, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting time, like to go find like some property that is kind of a little more slept on, something like obscure-ish, and kind of go in that direction, or we have lesser known Marvel heroes or something like that, because it's just I think it's over. Like as they set it up, I don't think we're really that interested. And like as you said, they kind of just took the piss out of the whole thing, really. I mean, I cried genuinely when Tony died. I thought it was a really remarkable end to the character, and I like that it took all that. But yeah, Thor, it's now like wonk wonk wink 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 joke joke joke. It's like, oh boy.
Yeah, I'm in charge. No, you're in charge. Ha ha ha. Like, yeah, I agree. I think that was a great scene. Of course, you had Peter Parker crying again, with his mask off, and you had Pepper there and stuff, and like, hey, Peter, get out of the way so I can be with the love of my life who's now dying. And so it was a good scene. It did kind of tug at the eye sockets. It got a little bit of the moisture going. Kind of a little bit like Luke showing up at the end of The Mandalorian was emotional. My wife's teased me, saying, "You were crying," and I'm like, "Girl, I wasn't crying. There was some sand in my eye. It was
dusty." Okay,
I was a little emotional.
I sneezed and it's got watered up. That's all that happened.
That's right. But but that's good story writing, right? Yeah, I get that they wanted to do that because they wanted to have an emotional impact to end that chapter. And sure, why not?
The worst part for me was when Quill, after he thinks what's her face is dead, the alien chick, the whatever her name is, I'm talking about Gamora, and he thinks that she's dead, and then she comes back to life, and the first thing she does is kick him in the balls. I was like, oh, that was so like I really
cold. That was cold. Yeah, I agree.
I didn't like that at all.
I hated that actually.
Yeah, me too. It really bothered me because it was so much genuine love that he had for her, and he was so heartbroken that she was gone. And then they just did it for like a really cheap laugh, and it was like, wow, from a character point of view, that's got to be incredibly devastating. Like I really didn't like that choice at all. I was like, ooh, and then they never pay it off. Like they didn't cozy up together, and it was like. I thought we were breaking through the fucking phony tough girl thing, where she's like, oh, I'm not into you. And like, oh, I do love you. Like, I was like, great. We kind of got over that stupid cat and mouse kind of game. And it's like, nope, we're reverting right back to it. It's like,
right.
What audience doesn't want to see the guy get the girl?
Or the girl get the guy in this case, because she's obviously tougher than him.
Sure.
I agree.
What do they make? Who do they make that for? Like, I don't understand. Like, I know that like it's progressive for a woman to not need a man or something retarded like that, but it's like, what audience do you have in mind that's going to be like, yeah, that's what I want to see?
Well, I think you know the answer to your own question there. I think if you really deep down, that audience that they're targeting for the hot, tough female independent girl who kicks the guy in the balls. I mean, come on.
Yes, you're correct. But I mean,
it's not for us. We want the guy to get the girl, and my wife wants the girl to get the guy, and that's the 90% of the population out there that appreciates the hero's journey. And well, I know we've talked about this a lot about pop culture and what the last couple of years since 2016 at least, where we've seen that the writing has been weak, that these writers are targeting a very small percentage of the population, which happens to be very vocal. Just look at Twitter every day.
I think part of what people like don't understand, like don't comprehend, is how like universal it is out here in Los Angeles, and how like the echo chamber is kind of like the whole city, at least like the entertainment industry portion of it, you know, where people just walk around regurgitating all this type of stuff and saying it to each other. And you go to like whatever acting classes or agent offices, everyone's saying the same stuff everywhere. And there's no room for discourse. There's no room for conversation. So to them, it really does seem like this is the way the world is. And this is what people want to see, because they have such a small sample set of people to interact with that it's lost on them that people don't like it. It's like, that's why, what was that guy Pablo Hidalgo the other day going after the Star Wars fan on Twitter? They don't understand how someone could not like that.
And you have a unique perspective because you've got your fingers on the pulse of the city there and Hollywood. So as an actor, you probably know all about that, right? That's a great perspective that you should probably do a stream about. I think that with Gina Carano going on Drunk 3PO's live stream yesterday and chatting about...
Did she really?
Yeah, yeah. Oh, man, you got to check it out. You got to check it out. It's good.
That's amazing.
No makeup, just looking like a... Man, I love her even more now. Oh,
what?
yeah. Yeah, you got to check it out, man. Drunk 3PO did a great interview.
Wow, congratulations, Drunk 3PO, man.
That Holy is huge. Yeah, I'm waiting for the nuptials to start here, the wedding bells to go off.
I see.
I think she would hurt him.
It says at 4:00 there's a premiere, a conversation. So did they talk more than once?
Well, I've only seen one. I saw the blip, the interviews. I don't know if he's going to do what he's going to do is he just showed the edited stuff, because I was watching where she just talks about what happened with, you know, of course we know what happened with that certain YouTuber who cried and showed it on live, and then we had a certain Disney employee send out tweets that was so there's I think that the interview I saw was just probably the small version of it, because it was only like 5 minutes long, the one I was watching. So maybe this is the whole full interview that he's going to
maybe that's what's coming out. This currently is only about 3 minutes long. I want to check it out real quick.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. That's the interview that I'm talking about.
It's blown away. That is so cool.
I like at the end where he's just kind of sipping the coffee and he kind of gives you the look like I'm all that. It's pretty good.
So badass.
I had with Gina Carano.
Now she's really low.
Has been taken from that live stream and been put on other channels saying that Gina is responding to Pablo Hidalgo. That is incorrect. That is incorrect. We were having this conversation and she brought up the fact that I think it's a good thing that people had emotion for Luke Skywalker. And if you did, you did it. There was no response to Lucasfilm. It was just a general conversation. So if you see this on other channels that said this is a response to Pablo Hidalgo, that is incorrect. This is just a small clip of the interview that I will have up later.
There you go. Yep.
Wow. That is so cool, Drunk 3PO.
Didn't know until Luke came up at the end. It was a beautiful moment, and people should express their emotions.
100%.
Yep.
100%.
Without being criticized.
People should 100% express their emotions, and I think that they need to express them more. You know, that's and it's okay. It's 100% okay if somebody is like, "Hey, I didn't get it," or "I didn't think that," or "I didn't feel that." But I don't think that it's okay to ever tell somebody's and this goes across the board. This goes towards everyone. So you can't just sit here and say, "Hey, like your feelings don't count on this end," but then and your feelings count on this end. You have to be, if you're a feelings person, if you're an empathetic person, you have to listen to all of them. So yeah, no, I 100% think that if you had feelings towards Luke Skywalker showing up and it being such the most amazing thing in the world and it brought tears to your eyes like it did the rest of us.
Like it did the rest of us.
Wow.
Just compound that off of being on set and the people that were on set. We felt the magic, and the inspiration. It came through on film. It came through our eyes. It came through our hearts. It came through everything. And if you felt that, then you're feeling the right thing. And if somebody else wasn't feeling like that, then they might have not been there or not felt it, but fine, okay.
Wow. That was fucking epic. Way to go, Drunk 3PO, man.
And way to go, Gina Carano, because she knows that Drunk has, like, we all watched Drunk. We all watched Gary. We all watched. This is going to blow up because I can't wait to see the whole thing. Obviously, that was just an excerpt, but it's something whereby you heard her say that, we all felt it. We were all on set. We saw friggin' Mark Hamill come in there and do that and talk to everybody. I'm sure he mingled. You had to feel that, right? And as huge Star Wars fans that are out there, and I include the current Star Wars fans that are there today, the new ones too, and the old ones, there is no way that if you're a Star Wars fan, you did not watch the Luke Skywalker journey in those first original 3 movies. You didn't see Anakin's journey. You did see Anakin's journey in the second 3 movies, and you felt that. Unless you are a cold fish or somebody who absolutely hates Lucasfilm and Star Wars, you didn't feel that. Even those who are having problems coming back right now because of everything Disney Star Wars has done to the genre, everything that they've done to that hero's journey, you still have to feel it.
I can't understand anyone who would be a fan of Star Wars and is not a fan of Luke Skywalker. It's
right.
Like, what the fuck? What are you a fan of?
It's his story. Like, it's the Skywalker story.
Completely. Like, 100%. Like, even the second 3 movies are really supporting his journey in the original 3 films. You know what I mean? Like, it's ridiculous to me. It's, I think, here's what I think a lot of this is, stuff. I think a lot of what goes on with people destroying IPs and stuff like that, and like, people just kind of casually like, making these Star Wars films with no goal and no plan. And I think it's that they don't respect it. And I think that's evident, but it's like they get these opportunities to be ahead on this thing. And to them, it's like a social achievement. It's not like you or I getting to create the new Star Wars movie. Like, ooh, I got the new Star Wars thing. And it's just like, they just get to say it. They don't care. Like, they have no passion. To them, they don't even respect it. They don't even look at it like it's something worth putting their best energy into. It's just a little achievement that they got, like a little like, bing, I'm like, I got a star for the day. And I think that's where a lot of this comes from. It's complete disrespect and disregard on a level that isn't even callous. It's not even mean. It's just they have so little respect in their heart for it that it's the hot item in town. So they go to get it, and they just want it just because it's the popular thing to get, because it's the cool thing to have.
Absolutely. And I think that every single science fiction franchise out there needs to take note of the emotional impact that having Luke show up on The Mandalorian did. I think that Star Trek needs to take a look at this, because Discovery is just awful, like absolute terrible science fiction.
I think it's a good sign, man. I think it's potentially a really good sign. We don't know where it's going to go. Vigilante Williamson, right?
Yep.
He hates it. He thinks it's a terrible thing. He thinks that they're manipulating the fan base. And I respect that point of view, and I think we should leave room for it. But I think my personal point of view is this is a good thing. This is such a fucking like a home run out of the park for the fans that I think it could be an indication of a change in the wind,
Potentially it could be. I also agree 100% with VW and what he's saying too, that we have to be on our guard, because I think that this may be an attempt at manipulation, but don't forget, Favreau's a fan. Filoni's a fan.
Yep.
As much as they want to move forward here, I'm looking at my Ahsoka statue that just came today.
Ha.
And you know, I like a lot of what Filoni's done in the Clone Wars and in Rebels, and I think that there is a lot of great stories that have been told that can continue to be told in The Mandalorian and other shows. But let's not forget where we came from here. This is Luke Skywalker's franchise. This is about that journey that he took to save his father's soul. It's a great story. Why would you want to crap all over it?
I have no idea. I will never understand why you think insulting the fans, why you think undoing what came before it is the way to move this franchise forward. It's so much hubris. The sheer fucking hubris. It's so much hubris because it doesn't, there's just no respect for it. You just think like this thing is a gold mine that's bottomless and you can just make money on it no matter what you do with it. And that's the hubris of it. That's the arrogance of it. It's like there's so little respect for the fans of this thing because they don't take into account why we like it, why it's been so profitable. Like that's not considered or respected. It's just like, you know, whatever, like it'll make money. It's like, no, it won't. No, it won't. Hail Eric K. Lovely to see you, sir. Happy New Year.
Great to see you, Eric.
Eric K is the Modrotic. Everyone here probably knows, but he's the Modrotic over at Nerdrotic. Great channel if you haven't checked it out. If you haven't checked out Gary, but you've checked out me, that's crazy.
Well, I think that you're doing some great work. The Expanse stuff, like all of your streams are great, man. It's fun it's fun though, isn't it? You get on here and you start talking and just go for it.
Yeah, that's what I was saying earlier. It was just it's one of the coolest things was doing this. I think it's one of the best things I've ever chose to do. I love it. I adore it. I think it's so much fun.
I've been enjoying dropping into the occasional live stream too, and it is a chance to kind of express our dissatisfaction with what's going on. And I honestly think that
our love,
absolutely. Well, if we didn't love something, we wouldn't be bitching about it so much. And I think when I heard it the other night, Doomcock and Gary were chatting on the Inquisition, and they were talking about their love for the genre, like that, whether it's Lord of the Rings or it's Doctor Who or whatever they're talking about. They say that if it wasn't for the fandom menace, hashtag fandom menace, and if it wasn't for a lot of YouTubers out there who have a passion for these things, that this probably wouldn't have happened. I think that the reason why there's,
you know what, look no further than Gina Carano being on Drunk 3PO's channel.
Yep, there you go. That's a big name actress, and she's not
the biggest show right now. The biggest show right now.
Yep. She's not she's not really A class yet. She's not one of those, big names that's going to net her $20 million a picture, but she's huge right now and everybody loves her. And I think we've kind of taken her as kind of, for the fandom menace and for everybody out there who wants good science fiction. And she's been in a lot of the great stuff, and she's, a strong female character. Absolutely. And we're behind her.
Fuck when it comes to politics. She doesn't play their games. She won't bow. She actually stands in opposition to a lot of it. It's inspiring to see. It's encouraging that it's even out there because it seems so homogenous. The voices in Hollywood, they seem like they're all the same. There's no diversity of thought or opinion. It's all the exact same. Walk this line, everybody, or you're out. And to see someone squarely in the middle being like, I'm not doing that, and then just sticking to her guns and riding it out, it's like, that is gangster. And I am happy that Gina Carano exists. I think it's a marvelous thing for the fandom menace. It's a tent pole for what we believe, and it's a terrific thing. And just back to that Drunk 3PO thing, everyone subscribe over to Drunk 3PO, but his channel is probably going to explode after this. He has 18,000 subscribers right now. He could get to 50,000 by the time this video is done.
I've been subscribed to him since 18 subscribers, I think.
Really? That's awesome, dude.
Yeah, a long time ago, man. I've been following him for a long time, and he's a great guy. He's funny as hell, and he's worth a subscribe out there. If anybody out there listening, he's a great guy.
He's really fun. I love Drunk 3PO. Him and Ryan's streams are really enjoyable. And I think Drunk 3PO's got a great voice too. He really has a great broadcasting voice.
Yeah, and I think Gina might think he's an attractive guy there too. Maybe that's what's going on.
Hey, that's pretty cool. I guess she's in Hollywood and he's in Florida, I believe. That's a bit it's a bit of a journey, but hey, you know what? Crazier things have happened.
Maybe we're gonna have a Drunk Cara Dune channel out there pretty soon.
Would that be rad? Like,
that would be awesome. I'd watch her.
I would watch that too. She's like,
I watch Katie Sackhoff. Have you watched Katie Sackhoff's channel?
She has a channel? No.
Oh yeah, and she does some funny, weird ass crap, man. It's worth a look.
That's interesting, huh? Katie Sackhoff. Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Did you know? I didn't know this. I guess it's common knowledge, but did you know that Gina Carano and Henry Cavill used to date?
No. How did that skip by me here? I miss it.
What a power couple, huh?
That is a power couple.
Seriously. And from the Phantom Menace point of view, I mean, that's two people that like have our undying love and respect. I mean, because they're in the things that we like. You know, they clearly have respect for what they do, and they have respect for the fans, you know, in it. And they don't play the game. They don't say dumb shit. You know, they don't insult people who don't like what it is, you know, whatever. Like they're like, you know, powerful. They really are. And it's amazing that they dated. I was like, that is so cool. What an awesome couple. What'd you do, Henry? Why'd you get rid of her?
I think she was tougher than him. I think that's a problem.
Probably. She kept putting him in triangle chokes, and he's like, all right, you got to stop. I can't.
Maybe that's why he was rebuilding their new computer there a couple of months ago. Remember that video?
I do. No, you could tell he's a legit fan. He's a legit gamer when he talks about things. He talks about it too intricately. He has too much of an informed point of view, you know?
Yeah, there's another great genre fan though too. It's great to have actors who love pop culture and who are geeks, geeks and nerds, and they're also actors and stuff. And I think those are the great examples of positivity that we're getting out of Hollywood. I know we talk about a lot of the negative stuff and the negative actors, and we always go hard on these people like, you know, Pablo and that just. Anyway, I think we have a lot of good people there too that are really trying to be positive, be optimistic, and push the positivity that Hollywood can do, because Hollywood can do a lot of good.
It can.
And I think that with Gina Carano, with all these great actors and actresses out there who are really trying hard to show that, you know, not everybody is like that. That's what we can look forward to. I'm hoping anyway. And her going on Drunk 3PO's channel is just awesome.
That is the greatest thing. That is so encouraging. Thank you, Eric K, by the way. I appreciate that. That is so encouraging for the future, for what we do, like the YouTubing, like getting like the crossover there is becoming so much more legitimate. You know, this is a big bridge from our world, which kind of lives in like a little capsule in like a bubble onto itself. But now that like she is a big part of Hollywood right now, taking a legitimate notice of it is huge. It's validating for for Gary, for Az, you know, for that whole community. It opens the door for future guests, for future, you know, collaborations. You know, it's like a pipeline to the center of what it is we talk about all the time.
I honestly think that there's a fundamental shift in politics in Hollywood right now. I think that there's going to be some changes. It's going to take some time because the COOF obviously is kind of shortened or has elongated this whole process of getting to regular entertainment again. And that's been a problem the last couple of years. I think we're going to see some good stuff coming out of Hollywood soon. I hope, fingers crossed.
We'll see, man. I don't know. Rajesh, I agree. Yeah, I could absolutely see that. I would be surprised if she didn't make it onto a Friday Night Tights at some point.
Wouldn't that be epic, though? Can you imagine? Because we're looking at 5,000-6,000 viewers on a Friday night. And if she shows up, the fans that she has now are just going to quintuple. Like,
yeah. You know, to your point, Thoth, I was about to call you Az.
Well, that's a compliment.
To your point about that, I think you're right to a point. I think we're gonna get good entertainment. I just don't think it's gonna come out of Hollywood the same way. I think, there's a lot of people with a lot of talent and a lot of hunger that have taken a lot on the chin this year and are kind of sick of being associated with the core bullshit that keeps coming out, that keeps getting pumped out by this town. I think we're going to start to see new entertainment outlets. I think we're going to start to see people outside of the system creating interesting content from different platforms. Like, this is a really weird example because it's very specific and it's really politically motivated. But the Daily Wire, that conservative news outlet.
Yep.
They are starting to make their own scripted content. Like, I think they're making a movie and they're working on developing stuff. I think they're out of Nashville now.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Now I think, they're basically, what I understand is they're trying to make things that are just apolitical and not like soaked in leftist propaganda, like just apolitical. I mean, who knows? But that's what they say. But I think that would be that's like the first Soldier on the Beach. And it'll have a built-in audience, especially it's conservatively based. People will watch it, but I think that'll be the first test. If that's successful, then I think more people might take the risk. More outlets have the potential and the opportunity to create scripted content that isn't from Hollywood, because the biggest advantage Hollywood has, besides talent and money, which is huge, but is the distribution. They always had a monopoly on that. Not anymore.
Well, I think that the greatest creative content that's coming out of anywhere right now is YouTube. The great YouTube creators, like, it's just amazing. I spend more time watching YouTube videos than I do watching TV, period. Even like cable is just, I might watch the sports at night to catch up on all the scores, but I don't even watch the hockey games much anymore. It's all YouTube.
10-1. I say it's 10-1 my YouTube viewing to like all streaming services combined, all Netflix, Amazon Prime, all that. I mean, 10-1. I mean, I very rarely even watch anything. I'm watching The Expanse, obviously, and that's kind of it. Like, I'm not interested to turn on, these mediocre movies when I'll have 3 brilliant hours from, whomever, whatever comedian I want to watch or whatever YouTuber I find fascinating. And it's like, it's way more interesting to me to then a okay movie with flaws and stuff like that. I was talking to my father about this yesterday, and he was like, I was like, could you imagine if you saw a comedian and like only 20% of his jokes were funny? You'd never go back. You'd never see him. And I was like, that's like Hollywood. It's like 20% of what they make is good. The rest is garbage. I was like, how can that be? And he's just like, because it didn't have to be good. Because you'd watch it, because it was the only game in town for 50, 60 years or whatever. And that's not the case anymore, man. That's just not the case.
Well, that's a great analogy. I love that. That's I agree. I think that a lot of things are changing and the world is changing. And I think as much as we go negative into what happened in 2020 and how tough it was and everything going on with this whole being locked down, I think this really just accelerated the changes that are going to go on in our culture. It should be interesting to see how 2021 goes. I'm hoping it's going to be a better year than 2020, but maybe it's going to be, you have to go through the darkness to get to the light, right? I think we're right now, it's pretty dark. There's a lot of bad things out there, but there's a lot of good things to look forward to too. And it's great to be talking about this kind of stuff on New Year's Eve. Yeah. I think that there's going to be a lot of changes. YouTube is awesome. Whether that's the platform that's going to be the end all and be all, who knows? Right now, it's the best one to be on. And yeah, we just have to make the best of it and enjoy it while it lasts.
I agree. And I'm trying to be more optimistic, to the future, just kind of looking at it as opportunities, that are developing. Because I think about it a lot, because I'm an actor and like I write as well. And I have these like ideas and stuff like that, things I'd want to produce, I'd want to put out there. And you look at a channel like Gary's, right? Like super successful YouTuber, 300,000+ subscribers. If Gary was going to make some kind of a web series or something like that, we would all be immediately interested because it's Gary and we're such huge fans and we're connected with him on a very personal level. Like we really like him as a guy. And B, he has such a gigantic platform on which to promote it. And we would all be there. He'd have a built-in audience. And then who knows how many other audiences would potentially join in because it was out there and already had, 30,000 views or whatever. It's the type of thing where it's like, wow, you really can make your own thing now, untethered from a bigger system.
Yeah, exactly. I think that there's been a lot of cross-pollination here too in the channels, right? Doomcock's getting successful, Nerdrotics getting successful, Az is getting successful. It's because they're spouting the same message, that we're not happy with the loves of our lives being treated the way they've been treated, and that's good. That's a good thing because it's all about freedom. It's about freedom of expression. It's about a whole bunch of opportunities for us to push back. When we don't like something, we're going to say that we don't like it. And that's a good thing. I've always been a big proponent of the freedoms that we take for granted here especially in North America, Europe. We really take that for granted. And I think we need to take a step back and look at what's going on. And hey, if we don't like it, we should say we're not going to go and smash in buildings and break windows and do riots and hurt each other. No. That's what talking is about. That's what expression is about. And YouTube is a great place to talk about the things that are bothering us. And we should treat each other with equal too, right? We don't have to make fun of or talk down to, or, if some cancer survivor loves Luke Skywalker as he shows up at the end of an episode and he gets tears in his eyes and he gets an emotional response. Why would we make fun of that? Man, that's great. He's showing emotion. He obviously he loves that. If that love is something that he can express to everybody, and there are thousands and if not millions of others out there who feel the same way, hell yeah. Why do you have to look down at him and why do you have to make fun of him? To make yourself feel better? Why?
Yeah, it's the kind of thing where it's like, I'm not that super emotional about it. But I didn't watch it. So I've just tapped out with The Mandalorian. I'm just not interested. I'm like Gary. I'm just like, I don't care. Like he watches it to as like an objective observer. I don't even do that because I'm just like, I'm over this whole thing. But that's not to say that to the people that it was meaningful to, it was authentic to them. Like they had a real connection with it. And even if it is a member berry, even if it is just kind of like playing with your feels a little bit, it's
it was.
Yeah. But their connection to it is it indicates something deeper that is there's the thing that they love, that they've lived with their whole life, that is now being treated with respect, that is now being, like given to you in the way that you want it. Given with honor. That's it. Given with honor, because and I think that's why people had such an emotional reaction to it, because it was the first time they've seen this character or anything resembling it, depicted like that since, Revenge of the Sith. And it was just one of those like this thing I love is back. Like it has that feeling inside. And I think that's what that is. And I think if you're the kind of person that's going to attack it, you're part of the problem. You're the type of person who callously cast aside what was there before, and you liked that. You got off on that, and now that people are like loving, the new, like the real direction that this should have been going in all the time, inside you can feel that they don't like what you did, and you resent them for it.
We should support people expressing their emotions. Would I do something like that? No. Would I go on live stream and cry like other YouTubers and other popular figures in culture do? Cry at the drop of a hat? Would I do that? No. But I think that we have to respect that.
But like what you said, you respect it.
Yeah, you respect that. I mean, if we're going to be all equal here, if we're going to treat all the sexes equally, if we're going to treat all people equally, we have to treat women and men equally. Whether you're showing an emotional response to something that you love, go ahead. I think that there's a lot of things that are going to be changing, and we have to move forward here. We're a culture. Everybody has their own culture, but what I mean as in a culture of the human race, we have to accept each other for what we are and who we are, and not based on our own preconceived notions of what they should be.
Yeah. I mean, look, people are going to tease and say mean things all the time. And that's life. This is the internet. That's how it is. But
That's bullying.
it's bullying for sure. But if you work for the company that put out the thing and they had a positive reaction to the thing that your company put out, and you have the audacity to mock him, like,
Shouldn't you be
what
celebrating
the
that?
fuck is wrong with you? Yeah.
That's free marketing.
And yeah, it's amazing. It's like, it's the best goodwill you can get. They always say the best marketing is word of mouth marketing. It is the most powerful form of getting any kind of product to somebody because it comes from a source you trust. And that's basically what YouTubers are. I mean, essentially, it's just word of mouth marketing because none of them, for the most part, none of them work for the studios. They're not getting anything other than views and stuff like that, but not getting anything out of, saying positive or negative things other than, pleasing their audience. Like, they're giving them what their point of view. So when you have someone like that who's so authentically in love with something, going on every day and talking about it and praising it, I mean, that's the best press you could possibly hope to get.
That's right. And I think that that's the reason why a lot of these senior executives and these big companies and big corporations, they hate us. They hate YouTubers because there's a lot of people. If you have, 2.5 or 2, what does he have? 2.3 million subscribers, whatever it is. When they're all feeling that, they're obviously a fan of him and his reactions. And, it's Star Wars theory. Obviously, it's a Star Wars fan group, and you have 2 million people who are enjoying Star Wars and love Star Wars, and they go on there and they're all like, oh yeah, I felt the same way, and then you make fun of it. Yep. That's 2 point whatever million customers that you're pissing off. Like, are you retarded? I'm sorry, that's a bad term. Are you stupid? Like, you should just keep your mouth shut and be celebrating that those are 2 million people that are going to go out and buy Luke Skywalker's lightsabers or statues or baby Grogu figures or what? Like, hello, that's money.
The stock for your company is going to go up, which probably means your money is going to go up. Why would you fight that?
Yeah, it just makes no sense to me. I just don't understand it. Yeah, people just need to stay off of social media when they're in those corporations, when they're employees.
I mean, it makes sense if you really think about it, though, right? Because to them, there's how entitled they are and how secure they are, and like, oh well, I'll always have a job because I'm, I say the right things. It's so important for them to say the agenda. Like, that is the most important thing. Like, their whole life is being like this cause activist or whatever, smugly, while collecting checks on the backs of things that had nothing to do with it. But that's why they do stuff like that, because to them, it's like they need to socially re-engineer the entire world to fit their view. And if they don't, if you're not a part of that, you don't play into that, well, then you're wrong. And we need to make sure that we continue to do this.
I just don't think they're fans.
They're not.
Great point there. Yeah. It's true. It's true. I don't think they're fans. I don't think they're true fans. Most of them are executives. They come from probably my generation and older. They went to school in the 60s and the 70s, and they know what Star Wars is. They obviously know what Disney is, but I don't think they are Star Wars fans. These are 60 and 70-year-olds.
It's actually not a lot of executives, a lot of powerful people in Hollywood are young, really young.
Yeah. Well, the lower level executives. When you say young, you have to define young, right? I
mean, like my age and you know what I mean? Like in their 30s, like you'd be surprised how powerful some of these people are. And they are my age or younger.
Like J.J. Abrams.
Yeah, but also like the guys you'd ever see, the behind the scenes people, like I've met people who are like heads of story development at like Netflix, and I'm like, you look like you're about 28. And it's like, it's crazy how much like these, because Hollywood's always been like a young town like that. They always want like the young, because they feel like they've got the new fresh ideas. So they're obsessed with youth. So they always hire young. Now they hire young, diverse, and also say the right thing. And this is where this is how you end up with this stuff.
Oh, excellent point. That's actually a very good point. Because I'm thinking that, well, senior executive, the people who are still controlling the purse strings are still probably older. But they may be. I think you're right. Actually, I think. Well, you are right because you know what's going on in the city.
Opinion, but yeah, I mean,
Yeah, I think that it is kind of trending younger. I think that's probably what the problem is.
That's exactly what the problem is. And the diversity hires don't stop just on screen. They happen off screen too. So that's where I think you get a lot of these giant fuck ups from people that are unqualified to be making these decisions, like HBO Max's complete failure. My intuition says that these are people that got hired to fill quotas, to get the brownie points. And then they don't really know what they're doing. And then you end up with huge failures like this, because it's like, well, that's what you get when you hire based on, superficial factors that don't have anything to do with how well they do their job.
Well, it certainly makes sense to why they would hate a lot of us too. I mean, the older fans are what's paying the bills right now.
Yes.
Until the younger people move into those positions as the older crowd retires and moves on. But right now we're kind of paying the bills. And that's why there's such a big disconnect between the two.
Absolutely. And like, I don't know about you, but there are definitely fandoms of things that I've never partaken in, but I find immediately interesting when I come across a really passionate fan base. Like, for instance, Warhammer.
Oh, yeah.
But the fans are rabid. And whenever I see the memes, whenever I see those fan-made videos, it makes me really interested. And I want to pay attention to that. So that is the old fans getting in new fans because of how passionate they are, how they make memes and they talk about it and they're happy to do it. So I think, like thinking that you can somehow disconnect your franchise from its fan base is got to be about the dumbest thing I can imagine.
Well, you're looking at Dungeons and Dragons too. A lot of the role-playing examples are perfect for that too. And Warhammer is a prime example because that fan base is larger than people think and are fanatical. As one who has a Dark Angels army, I can say that, Warhammer 40K, the Warhammer armies are pretty amazing. And I think the fans are as well. And I think, I just think that there is a disconnect. They want us to go away. I think that's what the Disney trilogy.
Well, they need us though. They want us to shut up and consume.
Yeah, they want us to buy all of the stuff. They want us to give all that stuff to our kids, and they want the kids to be the next generation that loves Rey and all that stuff. So
they want to put a funnel and then on our mouths and just guzzle our medicine, and we're supposed to like it. That's what they want. It's like medicine being propaganda. Like it's just amazing that they think that that's how the world works, that people are going to be into that anyone would be told to get on their knees and accept it. And then that they would do it happily is insane to me.
Right. Your customers are important, but
just human empathy. Would you respond to that, Mr. Story Executive or writer, woke person? Would you respond to that? Well, if that's how you were educated, someone told you to shut up and take it and accept it and have no independent thought about it, do you think that would work for you? If the answer is no, why do you think it would work for other people?
Right. Exactly.
Makes zero sense.
And yeah, you're right, Justin of the Red Shirt. It's a pulpit. It's all about passing on their propaganda and what they want to spout. And when you have the showrunner of Star Trek Discovery saying that exactly, it's just, it breaks my heart that they can't tell a good story. They have to tell their side of their political universe. And if you don't like it, that's too bad. Yep. It's just your diehard customers like Richard Meyer.
Not made for you.
Is perfect at saying that. Every live stream he does is another attack on Star Trek. And I just finished watching the new Star Trek today at lunchtime. And
you watch that, huh?
I've been watching it because as a original Trekker, my uncle is gone now, but as a kid, every Saturday we'd watch it on Channel 7. We had 3 channels in the 70s, and we'd watch Star Trek every Saturday at 12 o'clock, and then the Boston Red Sox would come on TBS at 2 o'clock. And so it was Star Trek and then baseball. And I grew that was my Saturday afternoons because, my father worked 2 jobs. So I was dropped off at my grandparents a lot, and my uncle and we'd sit down, and he was the younger brother of my father. And that's what we'd watch. We'd watch Star Trek. We shared that together. And that's one of those things that's lived with me for all these years. And when they do what they do to Star Trek, I watch it just to get a hate on, I think. Because then I watch Expanse and I'm going, now that's how you do science fiction.
That's how you do it. Your story, though, like that's what's so interesting. Like that is such an interesting personal storyline, and that's the thing that these people never take into consideration when it comes to, what they're destroying, is how much they. That's hilarious, Rajesh. Sorry, I'll get to that in a second. How much they are really like insulting and maliciously like disrupting like the good memories and the good faith and the lives of people like yourself that have loved this show for so long, have these personal memories, and now it's a travesty what they're doing, and they have zero concern for that. No feelings about it whatsoever. You're a patriarchal white male and you need to take your medicine. And it's just like it's so disgusting how little regard you have for what people's feelings are when it comes to these things that you don't even care about. You're just here to hijack it for your own ends. And then you're like, why are people not into it? It's like, Jesus. Wow. Just look inside your own brain for like a half hour because it's really busted in there.
Yeah. Be right back.
Okay. The thing about Pablo Hidalgo is so stupid. Actor, artists, directors, and authors all try to move people to emotions. If they're feeling nothing, they're doing something wrong. Yeah. Someone got emotional at the thing that we did. What a loser. Like, what? What kind of reaction do you want? Do you want them to feel nothing? To be numb? It's so weird. I was thinking about this, like the relationship between fans and creators is so bizarre. Like I've met like famous actors and people that I like, and I express my fanhood to them. And then it's so weird how they now they kind of look down on you. It's like, I like and respect what you do. Therefore I am not worthy of respect any longer. What does that say about your self-image? Like if someone likes what you do, you look down at them. It's just like, wow, man. Like it is wild. Like what Gary talks about all the time on Neurotic. It's the level of entitlement and the lack of gratitude that is just rampant in this town. And I think that's where so much of that comes from, is just no humility, no, like authentic respect for the people that they're making things for. And so you end up with all this type of shit because they're supposed to have this job. They're entitled, like, of course. And it's like, and of course we're right. There's no other thought to have, spout politics that I barely know anything about, that how poorly researched any of this stuff really is. I've never done any follow-up research. I've never independently analyzed any of these ideas. Someone just said it to me. It struck a chord with me emotionally, and now I'm just going to run around yelling it at everyone. And if you don't agree, I'm going to attack your character. I'm going to attack who you are as a person. And the thing that they didn't understand that was coming is that you can do that forever, but we will stop buying your thing. And they didn't anticipate that. They thought that they would just keep doing this and we would all just consume and shut up. And then what they're realizing is that that's not sustainable. You're only going to satisfy a very small minority of people who don't have anything invested in the thing anyway. They just want to hear what they believe regurgitated back to them, reflected back to them all the time, because they have these crazy worldviews that they're insecure about anyway, because they're really not that well fleshed out. So they just want to hear it over and over and over. And then that great. They're satisfied. They're not, the woke mob won't attack you on Twitter. Terrific. You've lost $1 billion now. Yeah, because you satisfied that voice. I hope you feel good about it. I hope it feels really nice when you go to parties and everyone congratulates themselves on what wonderful, nice, woke, enlightened people you are while you're bankrupting your company. I hope that feels great.
That's true. Well, unfortunately, it's time for dinner for us. We're getting ready to go.
Okay, buddy.
But this is a blast, like always. I love having these chats with you, man. This is just awesome. I love your perspective, especially being in the town, because you have a bird's eye view into what's going on, and it kind of it enlightens me a lot on how things are going in the town. And this stuff is just great. And of course, we all have these passions and emotions in regards to the stuff that we love. And you're absolutely right. I think that hopefully there's going to be some changes. Okay. What does Gary say? Hope isn't a strategy.
Yes, I love that.
I agree. As a student of Sun Tzu and military strategy and tactics, and no battle survives first contact with the enemy. I think we're still halfway through the battle. I think
Mike
that there's a
Tyson,
long way to.
everyone's got a plan until they get punched in the face.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I think we've got a long ways to go. I think the battle is still being fought. I think that we've won a couple of victories this year. We've had a lot of defeats. I think The Expanse is a victory. I think seeing Luke is a victory. I think seeing less woke in Mandalorian is a victory. Discovery is a loss. I think it's a write-off. I think there's a lot of good things out there that we're going to see in 2021. I hope that that's going to change things for the better. I'm hoping, fingers crossed, but I'm expecting it to get worse. I'm disappointed in Wonder Woman. I'm disappointed in what's going on in Discovery, but I'm cautiously optimistic with The Mandalorian and maybe one or two of those other Star Wars shows. So yeah, I think that there is hope for 2021. Hopefully we'll get out of the coof really quick. Everybody will be getting back to normal and we can go about enjoying our lives and being normal again.
Yeah, man. Well, it was great to see you. Thank you for stopping in, man. This was a real treat. I always love talking to you. Hopefully we can talk, The Expanse coming up. I'm doing one Saturday if you're around. Love to have you on because I love your insight. You're a super fan. Even more than I do, which is a remarkable resource.
I don't know. I think you know a lot.
I mean, I think that's why we get along because we have like this similar love and passion for this franchise. And I love talking with you. I think you're a great guy, man. So I'm happy that I got to know you and have a happy new year. And I hope 2021 is great for you, my friend.
Oh man, I appreciate that. Yeah, I love talking to you too. It's been great developing this great relationship we've had and friendship. I think it's been a lot of fun, and yeah, I think I have my hockey fantasy draft on Saturday. I think around the time, so I'm not sure, but it's with all my buddies and my brothers and everything, and it's a big competitive thing every year. It's for some bucks. So
okay. Well, I don't want to distract you from that.
The best I've finished, there's 15 or 16 of us. I think we have a new guy joining, so we'll try to keep it even to 16 this year. But best I've finished in the last several years is 6. So it's bragging rights, right? I used to be the guy everybody would come to for advice, but the last few years I've been doing pretty bad. But I will do my best to see, depending on the timings. Maybe I can drop by or whatever. But yeah, I'm looking forward to the last few episodes of The Expanse. That last episode is there's a lot to talk about, that's for sure. And it's been a good year. Yeah, man. All right, buddy. Take care. Have a great night. You too, man. And Happy New Year. Be safe, everybody out there. Take care of yourself. And Eric K, just another red shirt. Rajesh, Eric, if I missed anybody, I'm sorry, but it's a great chat tonight. Thank you very much. And same to you, man. Be safe. Happy New Year and all the best. And I'll talk to you soon. All right, buddy. Have a good one. Salute. Take care. Bye, Thoth. So that was Lord Thoth. Lord Thoth is the man. I am starting up another channel that's called Foul Ball Fun and Games. It's going to be a tabletop centric channel. It's going to be about like Dungeons and Dragons, all those type of tabletop games. I got a buddy of mine, Brian, who is like obsessed with that stuff. And every time I go to his house, he's got new Kickstarters and new games to tell me about. I'm like, dude, you should have a channel. He's like, yeah, he's hemming and hawing. I'm like, all right, I'm just going to start it and you're going to be the main personality. So that's going to be coming down the pike. And also I hope to have Thoth on there as much as possible because he's a DM since the 70s. He's super passionate. He's super smart. I think he's awesome and I love him. Yes, just another red shirt to Rajesh's question. That's correct. On Saturday, I think I'm shooting for Saturday at 3. I kind of want to have a big group discussion about the new episode of The Expanse. I haven't covered it on my channel just yet, but we did a long talk on Jake's channel the other day, talking about the new Expanse episode and the new season, which is so amazing. It's such a gift that we've gotten this season because it is so good. It's definitely political, but nothing's on the nose. Like we had a debate about whether Marco, the villain, the main villain, is what's the word? Ethically correct. If he's got a reason, if he's right or wrong based on like the injustices of the people that like the things that happen to the people of the belt. And that's how you do it.
You know, you don't take a hard stance and then just lecture the audience. It's boring. It's not interesting. People, even if you agree, you tune out. It's not fun to listen to that. But this is so nuanced and so complex. We had a good half hour of a 2-hour stream was dedicated to debating whether Marco was correct or whether it was the right thing for the belt and all these things. It's such a good show. It's so mature and sophisticated, and they don't indulge the weaker whims of a lot of people in Hollywood do, where they just need to lecture you and give you your medicine. It's a very adult and mature show, and I'm so happy. Sweet new channel. You're on your way to 50 channels like Geeks and Gamers. Yes, I know. That is exactly what I was excited. That's exactly who inspired me to do it, is because I had this channel, and then like I'm listening to Jeremy from Geeks and Gamers, and he's got like his park hopping channel. It's like a completely different thing from talking about the Phantom Menace and talking about Star Wars, as he says. I was like, oh, wow, you can just do that? Like, you can just have like multiple like brands. I was like, oh, what a great, yeah, okay, cool. I'm going to kind of like blend in the other things that I really like. And then I'm eventually down the road, I'm going to have Foul Ball Food and Drink, which is going to be about, obviously food and drink. Pretty self-explanatory. Because my mom's a chef. I've been in the food industry for my whole life, and I do love aspects of it. I mean, I work in a bakery now where I make sourdough bread, and I'm going to have all types of stuff like that. I think that's right. You get to do your passions on your channel. Park hopping. You're right. Then Sports Wars. Exactly. He talks about sports, which is that almost never comes up in the Phantom Menace, which is, I think that's really fun that people get to do that type of stuff. Eric Carlson. Hey, buddy. Happy New Year, man. Good to see you. Eric is he's a filmmaker. He directed me in a movie called Night at the Movies, where I played an old, 30s-ish kind of action hero, kind of put up your dukes, and went through the screen and lived in the real world. We shot at the Vista Theater in Silver Lake, which was an amazing Egyptian theater. It was a really fun experience, and I've played a lot of tabletop with Eric. He's a good guy. Good to see you, buddy. In regards to you, it could be me, but just in terms of studios, now it kind of feels like there are echoes of what was going on in the late 60s and early 70s, right before the Hollywood Renaissance happened. Yeah, man, I think you're right. What happened back then was the studios stopped knowing how to make money. They didn't know what worked anymore. They put out these giant epics that we used to work, biblical stuff, all these kind of sure things, and they just stopped making money. People weren't watching Westerns. They weren't doing all the things that worked, didn't work, and they didn't know why. So they just there were these young bucks, these up-and-comers like Spielberg and Kubrick and Coppola and all these, Martin Scorsese, all these new voices, these new visionaries who had these radical ideas, like patient movies that are personal and end tragically, or whatever their different ideas were. And they gave them the reins. They're like, okay, we don't know what to do anymore. You take this money and please make us money. Make a good movie and make us money, because we don't know how it works anymore. And I mean, look, the parallel, at least right there, the setup is the same. They don't know how to make money anymore. They're out of touch with their audience. They don't know what works. There are people in the system that could do it. You see Favreau and Filoni. I mean, I don't love The Mandalorian. I think it's clunky. I think it's thinly written. I don't like all the side quests, but the fans love it. And there's a universal respect for it from I just don't love it because I don't think it's amazing. But I don't dislike it because it's, agenda driven or callous to what came before it. It's just not my thing, but I respect it, and I respect when people like it. So, and that had to come from within. That had to come from a punk rock voice. Not that Jon Favreau is a new voice necessarily, but it was contrary to what management wanted, what the vision of Disney wanted. And I think that is indication that that this could happen. I don't know. In the 60s, there wasn't a lockdown. I heard the other day that SAG-AFTRA said that that's the actors union, said that that all productions are going to be shut down, or most productions are going to be shut down because of the COOF, because of the new restrictions. So who fucking knows? I mean, I think the next renaissance comes outside of Hollywood. I think the next renaissance is me, is you, is the YouTube creators, are Comicsgate, Gary, all these comedians with their podcasts, putting their specials on YouTube. I think we're the next wave. I think we're the next renaissance, us making our own stuff independent of giant corporations with, interests and values that are contrary to making good content. I think that's the future. I think that's the next renaissance. And I think if you have an idea, if you have any kind of like creative ambition, I think now is the time to really explore it. Because I think we're going to see a lot of things come outside of the system in different forms, new platforms we didn't even know were going to be out there. I think this is the time to, put a little skin in the game, because I think this is when it's going to get made. I really do. Just a red shirt. If you start a food channel, whatever you do not have Brie Larson on with a zucchini. I'd watch that on Pornhub, I tell you. I would. I would. What's going on with her channel? I haven't heard anything from Brie Larson in a while. I mean, she was so ripe for mocking when she first came out. And then it just became, I don't know, like so uninteresting. It wasn't even fun to make fun of. I really haven't heard anything about Brie Larson. I don't know what she's doing. I remember, weren't there rumors that she was going to be coming into Star Wars somehow? Wasn't there like some rumor that they were just going to try to really just alienate every single fan that they have? I don't know. I don't know. But I remember hearing that might happen. Rajesh, do I review movies pre-1999? Yeah, we did Die Hard the other day. We did Die Hard like 2 weeks ago, I think. That was for Christmas. But yeah, man, I'm a cinephile, dude. Like I love movies. I've written scripts. I've acted in a lot of things. I've produced things. I love making movies. I love movies. So it's the kind of thing that like I took upon myself to really get to know as much as I could when I was younger. I still, have a passionate interest in it, but I haven't really focused too much on old stuff. Although I used to, when I first started YouTubing, I had a show called Matt's Obscure Movie Recommendee Show, where I would recommend like obscure or lesser known movies that didn't quite hit, that didn't crush. And those videos are still up on my YouTube channel if you have any interest in checking them out and seeing what my tastes are and stuff like that. I mean, I think they're a little rough around the edges because it was some of my first videos. But I mean, my production value hasn't gone up that much. So I don't know. Maybe they're still watchable. It's I put them out like a while back, so I'm not really sure. Oh, this is in regards to Eric's movie. Yeah, it was kind of like that. It was inspired by Indiana Jones. There was a little bit of Indiana Jones in there. It was pretty cool. We had fun on that production. I know Eric was working on a feature, but no one's making anything now, so who knows? But it was a fun little project. Yeah, a bit like The Mummy and The Rocketeer as well. Yeah, it was all in there. It was really cute. Had a good heart. Eric's like a good-hearted guy, and when he's a storyteller, like you can tell, it comes from like a wholesome place, kind of like Spielbergian. Like it's a nice story, and it's got like good heart. Nothing too edgy, but interesting. Compelling, like stuff like that. Really, Eric Kay's been in a few independent films, eh? Did those air at the seedy theater downtown, where everyone's spread out and has like their coat up? Was it that kind of a movie, Eric Kay? Or was it a Sundance? What was the joke from South Park? Gay cowboys eating pudding? Was it something like that? That's cool, man. I didn't know you were an actor. I know a little bit about what you do, but I didn't know that you were an actor. It's an interesting life being an actor. It's fun. I mean, it's wild stuff. It's cool, but it's cool to try. I think like it's kind of like anything else. It's like if you are like a boxing fan, but then you take boxing lessons, like you get so much more insight into like what makes it really good. So it's the same thing with acting. I think like once you do it for a little while and you kind of try your hand at it, you realize how difficult it really is. And so when people do it exceptionally well, it's like mind blowing. And when you have a little more personal perspective that you've like invested in, I think it just informs your opinion just a little bit. Eric, yep, still working on it. Once I finish up another project, I'm getting back into action with a feature. Well, it's good to hear you're working on something, buddy. It's good to hear that you're working on it, man. That's great. I think it's a good time, guys, to get your get those creative impulses, those that need to make something. Right, this is a perfect time to get into it. And like I said, I think we're going to see more and more outlets where people are going to be putting out their own stuff. Like I was saying earlier, it's like if Gary made a movie, like, I would watch it because I'm a fan. I would watch it. I would definitely give it a chance. No question about it. And even if I personally wouldn't, he's got a channel with 300,000 people. I mean, talk about promotion. Talk about marketing. That's direct marketing to over 300,000 people that you can't buy. You can't buy that kind of trust that comes from, being that invested in someone like that. It can reach that many people or more, but for people to believe in it, that's something that is, you can't duplicate that. But think about how passionate I would be into it, and how passionately I think, other fans, you guys would probably be into it. I think that's going to be the future, man. I think the future of entertainment is going to be niche, very niche or niche. I think it's going to be segmented. I mean, you see it now, even with streaming services, it's very segmented. I mean, there's no super hits anymore, except for like the Marvel stuff and the Game of Thrones, but for the most part, people just kind of go into their own pockets of entertainment, like what they enjoy. I think that's going to be it. I think we're going to get more and more segmented, and we're going to kind of just all, find like our own stuff. And I think it's going to be a lot more independent things. I think Hollywood could come back into the fray, but I think it's going to be a little while. I think they're going to have to, this hangover of woke lecturing, I think is going to be a long one, because I don't think any of them think that they're wrong. I don't think that they believe what they did was incorrect. I don't think that they think their points of view are incorrect. I think they completely believe in what they did. I mean, if you just look at the election, not that I get too political on this channel, but if you look at the election, I mean, universally Hollywood was supporting Joe Biden, and, then he won, and they are not like going to be like, well, I guess, maybe they're not going to be self-reflective on that moment. They're going to be like, we did it. We nailed it. We did exactly what was correct. It was the right thing to do. Now we're going to continue to do it because look at the end result. So I think if you guys think that Hollywood's going to be unwoke anytime soon, I don't know. I think The Mandalorian is a good sign, but I feel like there's still an internal power struggle going on there with what's his name? Robert Rodriguez, saying that he had that script and it was like 16 pages long or whatever, and he had to fill it up with action. It's like, to me, that indicates poor leadership, and probably a lot of conflicting interests that, like, it's all just kind of barely getting out there, barely getting done. Because if you imagine the amount of people they have working on this show, working at Disney, and they can't get like coherent 40, 50 page scripts out there every week, that doesn't make any sense in a practical level. They have the resources, they have the people, they have the time, and if they can't put together like a coherent story or coherent scripts week in, week out, something's off, something's wrong, something is rotten in Denmark. And I think that I don't know, we'll see, man. I think if Kathleen Kennedy, gets the boot, maybe things could turn around. Maybe the Star Wars universe could really get interesting again. We'll see. I don't know, because I think she gets to take credit for all this bullshit going on with The Mandalorian being a hit. I think she gets to be like, see, I knew it. I did the right thing. I hired the right people. We had a misstep with this other shit, but now it's going great. I don't think she goes anywhere. Eric, hey, I'm not an actor. I just played one a few times. Hollywood people sucked me in after parties as favors. What? Hollywood people sucked me in after parties as favors. What does that mean? What were you the party favor, Eric? Were you just the party boy that they passed around, Eric K? Yeah. You're a personality more than an actor. You are a personality, Eric. That is for sure. I met this gentleman in Vegas, and he is a personality. Great guy, though. Hail Eric K. Love you, buddy. Just another restaurant. I've been in a number of stage productions, but I describe what I'm doing more as comedy than acting. Yeah, I mean, it's performance, man. It's giving something in your soul, that's viewed by an audience. I mean, it's performance. There's all different types of stuff, all different types of performance. But I mean, there's something happens when you do that. Something happens when you give. I can't quite describe it, but something inside of you changes. I know, like I've had like really crappy days where I'm just not feeling good about myself, just like off. And whether I come on here and stream or I would go to an acting class or go to an audition and give, I felt better, when it was all done. Like I felt better about me. I felt better about whatever. I gave a little bit and it felt good. I think it's a good thing. I think you know, creative outlet is really good for the human spirit. Really good for the human spirit. Right. Perfect example, Rajesh. Perfect example. Gary's gay Santa collaboration with Az from Heels vs. Babyface. That's a perfect example. They're making a parody book on David Kibblesmith's what's it? Whatever the book is, the gay Santa book. And they're making a parody about it. And it's like, of course we're all going to buy it. Of course I'm going to. And I you know, because I want to. Not even dogmatically, just because I do anything Gary says, is that I want to. That's a funny idea. And we're in touch with Gary. We're in touch with his sense of humor. We're in touch with his point of view and you know, his sensibilities. And so right there, bam, we're going to buy it. It'll probably be incredibly successful. And then that's funny. Like if you don't know who Gary is, and then you find out there's like this parody book mocking this dickhead, Daniel Kibblesmith, like you're going to be interested in it. It's like Metzger. It's like Kurt Metzger. It's like he found what Gary was talking about independent of like the Fandom Menace. You know what I mean? He's a comedian, but he finds him like saying this same shit, you know, and like having like interesting points of view. And then there's like a bond there. You know, I think that'll be the next, that's absolutely my opinion. That's the future, is independent creator stuff. Cause I mean, if you listen to like comedians and stuff, you listen to creative people, like so much hindrance in the creative process is all the middlemen. There's all the people in between that don't make creative decisions, making creative decisions, getting in the way of creating good content. Well, if they're not there, then you don't really, then that just is going to streamline the content. Although if you saw either The Irishman or The Five Bloods or whatever, that Spike Lee movie, sometimes you see that there does need to be someone with an editing, with a pair of scissors cutting out some stuff, because yeah, maybe indulging directors every single whim doesn't make the best product, because holy shit, are those two movies fucking bloated. You could have cut an hour out of The Irishman and the movie still probably would have dragged. I mean, that was a long movie. I think I watched that in like 3 settings. My God, that was endless. Eric K, I did some things in San Francisco on stage comedy play adaptations. That's amazing, dude. I didn't know that. I love that. That is so funny. I had no idea you performed. That's amazing. The non-woke are leaving Cali, so it's more of an echo chamber now. Yes, that's true, but they're not making anything, and what they do make doesn't make money. So it could collapse. I personally want to leave this sinking ship. I am very much looking at moving. I'm looking at Austin, Texas myself. I think that's going to be a new culture hub. I think there's going to be a lot of really interesting creators doing really free stuff out there. I think, you know, most people who aren't zombified by you know, the industries, like, you know, this is how we do things. Like, I think most people don't like being, you know, stuck into the industry and having to have people make their decisions for them, even if they agree. So if there's a future out there where you can do things, I mean, just look at someone like Joe Rogan, right? Like a prominent comedian could have had a complete like industry career if he wanted. You know, he was on a very successful sitcom. You know, he does all the commentating for UFC. He did the Fear Factor. That guy could have just like, you know, put out a special every 5 years and done sitcom work and could have had a complete industry career. But that's not who he is. He's a punk. He's contrary to the system. He does his own thing. And he builds probably, I don't know about the most successful, but arguably the most successful podcast in history out of, you know, his house, just jerking around with his buddies, talking shit, talking about mushrooms and DMT and elk meat, you know, all this wild shit. And it's huge. You think a studio would allow him to go 3.5 hours and just, you know, uncut and just talk about, you know, whatever the hell he wanted, whenever the hell he wanted, like going off about Terrence McKenna for 4 hours? Like, you think that they would think that would have been a productive conversation, that would have made money? I don't think so. I don't think that would have been. I think there would have been a whole bunch of notes from the industry executives, but that just goes to show what they know. They don't know. They only follow trends out here. There are a lot of creatives, but there's not a lot of creative executives or people in charge. They just follow what works. X works. Let's do X. That's it. They're not taking risks. You know, I mean, there's a lot of money at stake. These people aren't demons. It's just they're dumb. You know, it's like I used to work at this place next to CBS Radford in Studio City, and you'd meet these people, and you're like, you're not special. There's nothing special about you. You're just a guy. You're just a woman. Like, you could be working at Toyota. You could be working, you know, for Betty Crocker, but you happen to make TV. I mean, that's really it. Like, it's just an industry full of people. It's nothing more special than that. You know, there are very special people in it. You know, there are artists and singers and comedians that are genuinely gifted. And I'm not saying that there aren't that. It is. But the majority of it is, I mean, you know, I worked the Emmys one year. I did like a catering job at the Emmys. And it was like one of my first years out here. I was so excited. I mean, come on, it's the Emmys. You're working the dinner right after it. It was like everyone's going to be there, all these big stars. It was such a letdown. No one was happy to be there. I mean, it could have been a convention of vacuum cleaner salesmen. That was the tenor of the room. No one was happy to be there. It was just a work convention. They just had to go. I was like, what? You know, your whole life you watch these ceremonies and they have like this ritzy, you know, like costume, or everyone's dressed up and look at the stars and this, that, and the other. And they sell it and they sell it and they sell it. And they don't care. They're not interested in it. It's just whatever. I mean, that was one of a few lessons I learned, is just how much of this town is bullshit. Is just advertising. It's PR. You know, they sell that image of the star, you know, like that, like A Star Is Born. You know, you're just someone and they pluck you up. That never happens. What's an overnight success takes 10 years or something like that? Like, that's the old axiom, and that's true. And I'll tell you what, you have even less of a chance if you're from somewhere else. The best chance is to be born here and in the industry. That's your best chance of making it. Like, I knew an actress. She's pretty good. She's talented, cute, not amazing, but fine. But her mother was a reality TV producer. And so when you are born out here and you have the access, you know how much easier it is to get into a casting office or an agent's office if you know people out here? Like, if you were born here, if they're the people that you play tennis with or whatever. I mean, outsiders are competing with that. And it's so, I don't want to say insurmountable, but it is so challenging to get over those hurdles. Then you slap politics on top of it. You know, you have to say the right thing. You got to do the right thing, go to the right places, follow the right trends. You know, it's not a town that's designed to enhance creativity. It's power, and it's like the popular crowd. It's like the most trendy, most desirable, popular crowd in the world. And that's what it is. And, you know, it's not, to me, that's not what I wanted. Like, that's not interesting to me. Like, I don't give a fuck about what's trendy. I give a fuck what I'm interested in. What's fun, what's funny, what's exciting, what's, you know, touches my heart. Like, what you guys think is cool. You think I give a fuck what you think is cool? I mean, you've never seen The Godfather. You know what I mean? You wouldn't know the difference between Empire or Jedi. Like, you don't care about these things. They're not passions of yours. So why does this shit thing? The people in this town. That's who's in charge. Fucking trendy girls. Ugh. We need stuff outside of this town. You know, I think that's the future. I think that's where you're gonna get the best stuff. I mean, you guys are watching me right now. You know what I mean? You could be watching any movies or music. I mean, please don't leave. I'm happy you're here. But I mean, there's so much opportunities, but you guys are here watching me. You know, it's a microcosm of how we're all relating to entertainment. You know, I kind of don't even turn the TV on anymore, except to put on YouTube. You know, the other day I lied in bed. I think it was the day after Christmas because I was nice and hungover. I think I lied in bed all day and watched, like, I don't know, like 8 episodes of the History Hyenas, the history podcast with the 2 comedians. I mean, I seriously just laid there all day and watched it. And it was great. Honestly, it was super enjoyable. These 2 mooks out of a studio in New York just talking shit about history. Now, that's a taste thing of sure, but you know what I mean? The amount of the time was still enjoyed, and the amount of energy and effort that goes into that versus how much goes into a TV show and how much money goes into a TV show, and the vision. You know, it's like, I like those guys because I like what they are saying. I like who they are. You know, it's like most of us, when we're watching this stuff that has politics in it, even if you agree, you're just putting up with the politics. You don't enjoy it. It's, you know, even if you agree, you're kind of like, you know, it's just something you have to put up with. Like, that should not be We should not have to politely excuse the fact that they indulge themselves when they make this shit. They should not be indulging themselves when they make this shit. They should be trying to make a good product for the audience. It's like if you're making like a joke and the audience doesn't laugh, you failed. The joke's not funny. You know what I mean? Like you need to make the joke funny. It's like this stuff. It's like, what are you going to have something? You're going to make something and then like the audience isn't going to like it. And so you're going to go on Twitter, you know, you're going to make jokes that people don't find funny. And then you're going to attack the fans for not laughing. It's like, no, asshole, make something funny. Just like these shows, make something good. I mean, look how thin this season of The Mandalorian is. All due respect to people that like it. I'm not shitting on you if you like it, fine. But the writing is thin. I mean, there's not a big arc. There aren't giant character moments. There isn't a lot happening. It's so many side quests. It's so much like kind of just a time-consuming side quest. That's the Critical Drinker. But it is. And yet they give this moment, a few moments where they treat the fans with respect. They give them something that they are interested in genuinely, and it's like a huge success. That's not fucking hard, man. There's not a lot of craft involved there. There's not a lot of skill. There's not a lot of talent even. It's just a level of respect for the fans that works. That is not fucking alchemy. That is not rocket science. That's not like a 1 in a million gift. That is treating the fans with respect, giving them something that they appreciate. This is not magic. This is not an obscured truth that you need to spend your whole life figuring out. This is just having respect for the people you're making things for. It's that simple. And they can just make bushels of money. Look at the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Is there a more successful thing like media enterprise ever than the Marvel Cinematic Universe? I mean, how many billions of dollars did that gold mine make? And they still managed to fuck it. They still manage to fuck it up. They get greedy, they get self-indulgent, and they look at it like it's just a river of money that's never going to stop. You know, that's why we got to come on here and say stuff. That's why you got to make your own things. That's what Gary's advice of making your own thing, I think, is brilliant, brilliant advice. I encourage it for everybody. You know, if you want to go on YouTube, just do it, man. Just do it. You know how like easy this really is? I'm not saying like the skill of it, but the act of doing it is not hard. I have a few lights, a camera, and my webcam and a mic, and my computer and a mic. I had a lot of that. All I had to get was the webcam, which I didn't even need to necessarily get. I just wanted to get a good one. And the microphone. You need a microphone. But then just start making videos. Look, no one's going to watch them. So you can't fail because there's no audience yet. You know, you have to build your audience. So just do it. Just do it. There's nothing stopping you from doing it, you know, except for you. Except for you not wanting to do it, you know, except for you like, you know, just hemming and hawing and not doing it. Other than that, I mean, that's really all there is to it. And then you just do it and do it and do it like anything else. You just get better at it. You know, it's a skill you refine. If you want to do it, man, do it. This is the future. The future is not having to adhere to a giant conglomerate or a group of people or having to like slide in. No, the future is hard work, is committing to something, making something interesting, and then sharing it with the world. That's the future. That's how I see it. You think they have brain disease? Yeah, man, it's just they're not that bright, dude. Like they're just a lot of people, they're just not intellectuals. They don't think. They're not thinking people. You know what I mean? They just don't question. You know, it's a need to belong that is really powerful. And so questioning it might ostracize you, might not make you one of the cool kids. So they don't. So they just agree and move on. That's why, you know, that's why Hollywood used to be racist, and that's why it's super woke now, which is kind of the same thing. But it's because the people involved, they don't question the masters. Who is in charge? Who controls the spice? Who controls like the avenues of access and power are gods in this town. They're gods. So people they just go with what they say. They're not going to stand up to J.J. Abrams and tell him he's a hack. They're not going to, I mean, not that, obviously that's a little ridiculous, but I mean, you know, you're not going to contradict the narrative because it might keep you out, might push you out. And that's something that they don't want to risk. You know, they don't want to risk. So that's where a lot of this comes. Draco, hey, buddy. Hail, my good man. Hail, my good man. I'm against EFAP. That's some pretty stiff competition right there. I got to be completely honest. EFAP guys are great. I love the video. I love the clip that Critical Drinker used in his video about the Mandalorian, and he has like people having the real emotional impact of like, you know, the Luke reveal, and then the EFAP guys being like, yeah, that would have been a good moment if they earned it. I love them because I think for the most part they really rely on logic and like objective quantification. So I think they're good to have out there because you can get like an objective perspective that is really valuable. I like that. It's enriched me. It's enriched my point of view because then you can use that. Like I still like things that defy logic at times. You know, stories that defy logic, story choices that don't quite work. But it's important to know that that's how you feel. Because I think that's when people like why you feel that way. I think that's where like what's it called? That cognitive dissonance comes in, where it's like someone points out a flaw and you're like, I like it, but like it's like now you're insulting the thing that I like, which is that's an insult to me. And it's like, no. You need to understand why you like things, and you need to understand there is a thing called objective truth. There is a thing called objective facts. Things can be objective, and you can subjectively enjoy it, but objective truth is a real thing, and it's something that should be respected and observed. And I think the EFAP guys do a great job delivering that for us in a way that's really enriching. I don't agree with everything they think and say. They don't like the fucking Expanse, for Christ's sake. Greatest show of all time. Mahler doesn't like it. Yeah, I put a super chat one time. He's like, yeah, I watched the first 3 episodes, first 3 seasons, not impressed. I was like, what? Hey, Vigilante. What's up, my brother? Happy New Year, man. I'm streaming, dog. If you want to join, pop right in. Pop right in. Just go in the Discord. Jump on the link, buddy. Love to talk to you. Love talking with you, Chief. You're the man. But you're aware of it objectively and love it subjectively. Yeah, exactly. And that's why I dig that about them. I think that that's valuable. It's a valuable service they provide. They're funny when they do it. Mahler's soothing voice warms my cold heart. I think the EFAP guys are great. Don't go watch them now. Stay with me. But no, those guys are great. There's another show called Pitch Meeting. I don't know if you guys have ever seen that. This guy, I think his name's Chris George. I think he's Canadian. He's Canadian, just like Lord Thoth. He does some really funny videos too. I love his videos. He's basically, the whole conceit is that he plays 2 parts. He plays the executive and the screenwriter pitching the movie to the executive. And so when the screenwriter pitches the movies, he pitches it like with all the logical flaws as if that's a feature of the film. And the guy goes, what? Like, and then he like has to process, like, obviously me explaining it's not going to be nearly as funny as those videos. But if you like movies and you like, you know, the jokes about how stupid some of them are, those videos flippin' rule. I love Pitch Meeting. I have had nights where that's all I watched, like all night. Just like watch video after video after video. There's like hundreds of them, and they're all about 6-7 minutes long. I swear I just like that's all I watched like all night. It's awesome. Pitch Meeting rules. Pitch Meeting rules. Eric K. Hollywood people ask me to be in some movies. I used to go to a lot of Hollywood parties with my cousin. What a mover and shaker this Eric K is. From the inner workings of Vegas to the inner workings of Hollywood, now being the mod Roddick on Gary's channel. Man, this guy's a real guy. He's a superstar right here, guys. Eric K. Eric K. Hail, buddy. I love the way Gary reads out a chapter on FNT and shows the page to the camera like we're school kids, lol. Yeah. Gary's such a sincere guy. Such a sincere guy. And I don't think he makes any allusions to the contrary. I think like he puts out that I'm just kind of a goofball. This is what I do. I like talking about this stuff. I started it, he worked at a comic shop, so on and so forth. And it's very inspiring. He's just an authentic dude. And it's like, kind of makes you feel like you can do it. And the truth of the matter is you can do it. You can do it. If you can do it with no prerequisites other than having a camera and an internet connection. I mean, that's literally it. No one has to knight you. No one has to give you access to doing this. You can just do it. And I recommend it because it feels really, really good. I loves it. Guys need to chat and take the mic. He's one of the few outlets. I don't know what you're referring to there, but you you put that in the chat like 15 minutes ago, so I'm not sure where we're going. Oh, that's too bad. Good to see you. Just Another Red Shirt. Obviously, I missed that, but good to see you, my friend. Thank you for stopping in. Just Another Red Shirt's a great guy. He's always hanging around the channel, man. Good dude. Good dude. Love him. Oh, look who it is. Vigilante. Yeah. Oh, really? Dude, get on this channel and tell me about that. I want to hear you talk about how you liked Wonder Woman 84. You are the only person I've heard say anything positive about that. That is really interesting. That is super. Oh, he will. Okay, great. Cool. Good to see Vigilante. I love that guy. He's got a great channel. If you guys haven't been over to Vigilante, go check him out. He's got a great channel. Let me see if I can link it in the chat. He has really interesting takes, I think. That's what I like about Vigilante. He's an authentic dude, you know? That's the thing, too, about doing your own channel. He's got 123 subscribers. Way to go, brother. He is moving up. Let's see. I'll put that in the chat. I'll link Vigilante's channel to the chat. Boom. Pow. I hope that comes up. I know we've had a problem with links recently. Sharing. No, there we go. It's there. Okay, good. That's the other thing, too, is you can say pretty much whatever you want, you know, within like the community guideline standards, which, you know, are pretty strict, but they're not like they're not ridiculous. I mean, you know, there's certain things, you know, obviously don't come on here trying to stir up the Fourth Reich. But I mean, you know, within that, I mean, I think that was one of my biggest fears, was just saying things. I was just like, oh, I don't know. Like, you're just so programmed to not say what you think a lot of the times that I think that was like, that's kind of the biggest gift, is just being able to come on here and say what you really think, what you really believe. And I think back on certain moments in history, I'm like, damn, I wish I had a channel when that happened. Like, I wish I had a channel when I saw The Force Awakens, man. God, I wish I did, because I hated it. I hated it from almost the jump. After they murdered all the villagers or whatever, like, I pretty much didn't like that movie. And everyone around me loved it. I would have loved to have come on this channel and trash that movie. Although, I don't know, at the time I was so emotional about stuff like that. I don't even know if I could have had fun talking about it. But I think back on stuff like that. God, I wish I did. I wish I did. But I guess the idea now is to keep my eyes open for the new things coming down the pike. Those new moments, those special moments. And I tell you, man, oh, that's what you're talking about, Rajesh? That comment was on Joe Rogan's success. Oh, okay. Where are we? Oh, gee whiz. Guys need to chat and take the mic. He's one of the few outlets. Yes, that's yes. Take the mic. Is that a British expression? Like make fun of, kind of take the joke, take the piss of, out of, as you guys say. Yeah, you're right. 100%. Like, that is something that, you know, when they talk about toxic masculinity and the way, you know, all these men things, that is the way men relate to one another. We mock each other. I don't know why. I don't know where it comes from. I don't know if it's from, you know, it's like puppies biting each other's ears or whatever, but that's just part of how you relate. Once, you know, once you call your buddy gay, then you know you're really friends. You know what I mean? Now the friendship is bonded. When you make a gay joke with your buddy, you know, like, it's not against gay people. It's just something you're fucking around with your buddy on. You know, I think that's what they don't quite understand. You know, it's like Hollywood used to get it. Hollywood used to make things pretty much exclusively for men. And there's a reason for that. It's not just because, you know, they're all horrible, patriarchal, oppressive white males. No, it's because most of the people going to the movies were men. You know, on the weekends, the more people that the majority of the audience was men and of a certain age. So that's why they made movies that appealed to them. It wasn't because they hate women or they hate minorities or whatever narrative they want to come up with. Is that it was good business. Is that it made sense to make those movies, you know? And look, here's the thing. I'm not saying those movies shouldn't be made. I think they should be made. I think make them all you want. Make them as woke as you want, sweetie pie. Go for it. Just make it a 4-hour lecture about feminism. Go for it. I'm sure people will watch it. Obviously, I'm being hyperbolic, but my point is, like, I think it's fine. There's lots of room for all different types of content. Put whatever you want out there. Where we have a problem is when you come into the stuff that we already liked, that we enjoyed, that worked just fine, and then you come fuck that up with your agenda, with your point of view, with your opinions, where you know, we're playing ball and you're like, we're not playing ball anymore. We're all gonna write, lines of script on a page. We're like, no, we're playing ball. It's like, you will like these lines or you will get out. It's like, we were playing ball here. You just came and just like ruined our game. And now you're like, why are they so sexist? It's like, what are you talking about? We're not sexist. We just were enjoying playing this game. Why are you fucking with it? Like, that's what it is. We don't care. We don't give a shit. Fine. People see Wonder Woman. Obviously, we don't hate female protagonists. Obviously not. We just don't like you coming into our shit and corrupting it with agenda. That's what we don't like. And no one likes that. Nobody likes that. Like, I was trying to think of a parable, but then it made me laugh. I was like, no one wants to go into Jane Eyre and make it an action movie. But then I was like, that sounded actually pretty awesome. That would be pretty rad. But my point is, it's just like, there's a reason why it worked. There was a tone. There was a respect for story. You've heard it all. You know what it is. But that's what it is. That's what people don't like. They don't like. It's like, and even people will take a lecture here and there. It just needs to be in the appropriate outlet. And I think that's why they come in, they ruin all these things, because the truth of the matter is, people really don't want to hear it. And they know that, because whenever they make woke bullshit, it doesn't sell. So they have to come into the thing that already works and then make it woke so that they can sell it. And it's like, that's not going to work either. Eventually you'll crumble that fandom and a new one will come up somewhere else. Like, we're not stupid. We know when you're lying to us. We know when you're fucking with us. We know when you're manipulating us. It's not that hard to identify. Like, you think you're savvy, you think you're sharp, you think you're slipping one by on us, do you? Like, most people, especially in science fiction, holy shit. Some of the smartest fans of stuff out there. You think you're going to just like manipulate us and like twist the message around and turn it into something that it's not, and we're not going to notice and we're going to like it? How dumb are you to think I'm that dumb? It blows my mind. It's like ask any Star Trek fan. You could tell even the most casual, like not sensitive to woke stuff, like even the most just kind of like, whatever, doing my own thing, like Star Trek fan, hates this new shit. Hates it. It's just like, it's too much agenda. I don't really like, and they just charge forward like it's not happening. What kind of a sociopath are you that you would just torpedo a franchise for your own, selfish desires? Everyone says, no, I don't like this, and you keep doing it. That's psychotic behavior. That is deranged thinking. And speaking of deranged thinking, hail Draco. Welcome to the stream, my friend.
The derangement of the stream just went up considerably.
Exponentially. How you doing, my friend?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
I'm ranting. It's great.
You're loving it, aren't you? Mm-hmm. That's just excellent. Excellent of you, sir.
Thank you, my friend. I didn't realize until I started doing this how much I rant a lot in my personal life, and no one really, they don't want to just sit there and be ranted to. But if you put it at a YouTube channel, now it's content.
On some degrees, yes.
On some degree. It has to be articulate, it has to be focused, has to be interesting. But I think it's definitely better suited than conversation.
Yeah. You might find people who are willing to let you, geez, that's what DC does all the time. They cheer him on when he rants.
DC?
Because he's, Doomcock.
Hail the future rule of Earth.
Indeed. He makes an issue out of it every Inquisition. If there's something that needs to be said, he will say it at length.
Yes, and he
with
gets
passion and fire and
he gets authentically angry, and it's something that's kind of interesting to me because I always try to not get genuinely angry when I do anything like this. I don't think it's a good look for me, and like I can lose control. I don't want to be that guy, but I think it's interesting that he does. I'm like, that's kind of cool, man. Like, I like that the pit bull's off the leash. Let him go. Let him run.
Yes, that's the way we like him.
Yeah, I haven't checked out an Inquisition in a while, but I love that show. That's a great show. Those two together are amazing.
Yes.
They're some of my favorite. How long have you been in the Fandom Menace? How long have you been a fan of all this stuff?
Well, it wasn't The Last Jedi, although it should have been. The year after The Last Jedi occurred.
Okay.
Essentially, it was sometime in the first 4 months there. Because after The Last Jedi, there was suffering and anger and dissatisfaction, and that went on. And prior to, I mean, it doesn't apply any more than it does to Gary, but you go ahead and apply Boomer to me. But the thing is, I'm Gen X as well.
Yes,
I'm Gen X as well, and the thing is that I'm probably slightly more. I've always been shifted younger than maybe I should be. But the thing is that I've always been into computers and all these things like that. But I was never really into YouTube. But I've been off television since about 2003, except for stuff that people would bring up to my. I mean, I got into Lost because people told me about it, and then I watched it fall right off a cliff.
Sure. My buddy Jared, he thinks Lost is genius, and he thinks the ending is amazing. I couldn't get past the first episode, but this is shit. I don't like this show.
Started going seriously off the rails with the Flash Sidewayses.
I don't even know what that is.
If you never watched Lost, a term that would make sense to people who watch Lost was there was the flashbacks, there was the flash forwards, and then there were the Flash Sidewayses.
Which means what?
Ways of telling stories by framing the current story that is happening to your member cast, a group of people. You focus occasionally on one person in the group. There's
protagonist
term for telling. No, it's the ensemble. Focus on one of your ensemble, and you would focus on a story in the present, and in the first season of Lost, there would be flashbacks. You would see them in their lives before they got on this plane and got lost on this island.
Mm-hmm.
And that would be, you'd see their previous experience in their previous life, and then that would inform the actions of the current story. So it'd be like this is character development from the point of Lindelhof cues. I can't remember all of these fuck-ups, but the thing is that it was interesting, especially in the first season, and it was okay in the second season, but then it would just get further and further afield. And one of the things that they wanted to do is continue that method of characterization, but the thing is that there was always an element of this time, these flashes and things like that. At some point, fourth season or something like that, they practically created, without going too far into this because it's kind of spoilers if anyone cares.
I don't think anyone cares.
You created multiple storylines. So you had the same character but living different lives, and referencing from that story was a Flash Sideways.
Ugh. That sounds exhausting.
It was getting too weird, and
yeah.
But that's getting way off topic.
Well, we're not even on a top. We're just talking. But I mean, I would love to have my buddy Jared on it, and you guys can talk about that, because I'd be fascinated to hear. That's why I want Vigilante on this stream, because he said he liked the new Wonder Woman. I haven't heard an ounce of praise for that movie. I really want to hear him tell me what he likes about it. Because it's there
are elements to like in it.
It's
the same thing. If you evaluate pieces.
Here he is.
There he is.
Asking you shall receive.
What's up, brother?
A gift.
Hey, what's up?
A gift from the Lord. Not much, man. I was just talking about you.
Yeah, I heard you because I was listening to your stream, and I just got some food, and was just trying to grubbing and chilling. And
cool.
Oh man, might as well hop on.
Good to see you, my friend.
Yeah. How's everybody doing? How's everyone's New Year?
It's been great. I mean, I've just
It
been.
hasn't started yet. In 3 hours and 35 minutes, approximately.
Wow.
Yeah, it's only 5:30 here in LA.
Okay. Yeah.
Well,
On the East Coast, yeah.
Yeah, I had a buddy over last night, and he's leaving LA for Colombia, and we tore into a bottle of bourbon, and so I woke up late, and I was dragging my feet, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna stream, and then Thoth came on for a while, and we talked for like a little bit, and then just then you popped on. You see, I've been ranting, been talking my mind, and
you've been killing it, man. You've been saying a lot of stuff, man. Killing it. Thoth was on my stream yesterday. I was doing a lot of streaming yesterday and last night.
he's awesome.
Yeah.
I love Thoth.
So
Thoth is
what
a
type
good
of
guy,
what kind
yeah.
of bourbon did you guys have?
Buffalo Trace.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, it was like $22 at the Amazon store near my house. I was like, what? Done.
Yeah, it's real good stuff.
Yeah, smoked some cigars. It was fun. A couple of men hanging out, drinking bourbon.
Cool. You were talking about the whole masculinity thing. I've been talking about that too, because I feel like a lot of attacks on society, and I'm about to defend Wonder Woman, but attacks on society. We live in a society, but a lot of attacks have been on masculinity. A lot of pop culture attacks have been on masculinity, even in sports. I feel like they've attacked masculinity.
I agree completely.
I've said like the symbolic. Ooh, sorry, I'm trying to adjust my mic and stuff.
Okay, brother.
But unfortunately, something when Kobe passed this year, something else went when it comes to sports to me. Like there's something in the masculinity, the energy.
And you have some kind of exozone-y feelings about that, don't you?
Man, just a little bit, just because of something with that the way that helicopter went down. It just doesn't sit quite right. Whenever there's a famous person, there always is an exozone flag that goes off.
Yeah,
even if it's not appropriate, sometimes things just happen. You know what I mean?
It's been a while. Well, I mean, I tell you what, like, when did we all take COVID seriously with a coof? When Tom Hanks got it.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Oh, now it's real. When the NBA and Tom Hanks got it,
shut down the NBA.
It's kind of weird that the NBA was the thing, and then we Kobe. I don't know. Maybe there is something. Maybe there's a little connection.
Who knows?
Anything like that to me, and it was only personal when they shut us down. And on March 16th, I found out I was not going to work again until they said we could go back to work again. That was the only seriousness, because I had been watching all the news and stuff about it, and it's like, okay, it appears to be real. There are real people dying from it. I wasn't even concerned about. I mean, when Tom Hanks got in things like that, almost immediately there were, to talk about your exozone-y woo-woo stuff going, it was like he got it, and he was one of the people that, as far as we know, I mean, they could have covered, they could have changed it, they could have put a positive spin on it, because what do we really know about him and his family having it? But I mean, it's almost like, number one, they almost certainly could have got it, because you can get it and it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
Number two, you never actually saw anything. They only published certain elements of their particular story. So, I mean, he's an actor. His family is face in front of the camera. So what do you really know? And more this year, we've got more reason to mistrust those faces in front of the camera. Now, shoot, even talking about this would get one of those little gray labels under your stream if we go too much further into it. But the thing is that's just another element that how much do you really trust those who are considered sources and their information that is uncorroborated, and we've had plenty of reason to question that. So that's another reason why we're here.
We've had incredible amounts of reason to question that, and I've seen they're really doing a good job with the gaslighting. I didn't actually check the video out because I've been kind of dragging my feet from streaming myself, but I think it was Clownfish. They had a video talking about all of YouTube's considered far right just by asking questions, and they've done a real good job of trying to gaslight. Oh, you're far right. You're a conspiracy theorist by basic things. I mean, I don't want to go too far off because I don't want to get Fireball in any trouble, get Manny in any trouble. But like, it just things that you can see in front of your face. They're like, you know, this isn't happening. They're trying to gaslight you. And, you know, certain political acts have been a bit farcical in how they've been handled, no matter what side of the aisle that you're on. And even, you know, it to me, and I think I said this in the stream, or at least part of this, it started in culture. It started with The Last Jedi. They literally used the same playbook they used for The Last Jedi for pretty much everything else. For the Koof, you know, you must be a far right, you must be this, that, and the third. They're trying to shame an opinion or shame a perspective. And they started off, you know, in our pop culture, and it was almost like it was a testing ground for doing it to the people in masses with like I said, the Koof and the selection. And so sorry about that.
Sometimes this isn't even the opinion. It's the
Facts.
If you've got a fact, if you've got a supported fact that is corroboratable, they will say we came up with this, and we have to protect ourselves in this world. We have to say, well, it's my opinion to think a certain thing, which is the thing that we have to do. We can't. But when we come up with a fact, the fact is attacked, and we're attacked for having that, and we're slotted into some kind of category.
Apparently, that's
label.
That's in the playbook. Like that's there. Like a lot of these people are educated on how to do it. Like that was something that like when Occupy was a big thing. Like the books that these people were informed from, that was one of the things that they would tell you to do. They would say, like, attack him on these grounds, call him a whatever, like something horrible, like a sexual predator or something like that. And then that would create immediate, like a negative opinion on this guy, negative point of view. And then he would be like, wait, no, I'm not that. Oh, get rid of this guy. He's like, that's in their playbook from the jump. So it's something that, like, I honestly now, whenever I hear like an ad hominem attack, I just stop. I don't go any further with the discussion. As soon as you attack my character or say something, okay, well, that's just saying that I don't even talk with you anymore. That's it. I'm done. Bye. Bye.
That's a smart way of doing things.
You have to.
Yep.
Don't argue with those people. They're nuts. They're not trying to have an authentic human discussion. They're not trying to explore the nature of truth or really whatever idea it is. They're just fighting with you, and they just want to win the fight. So there's no point in having that discussion.
Sometimes they don't want to win. They just, you know, want to fight. They just want the chaos of it.
That's true too. Just want to watch the world burn.
Yeah.
So all right, Wonder Woman.
Okay. So initially, I liked it just as a flawed mess. Like, okay, this movie has some good and some bad. But you know, the fun, Maxwell Lord was fun to me. I walked in with very low expectations. Initially, my Wonder Woman 84 expectations, they started off high, and then I heard a lot of, you know, crap before the movie. I'm like, oh, it's going to be trash.
Hey, sorry, hold on a second. I don't mean to cut you off there, buddy, but your mic has got some kind of, there's some sort of interference. It's like got like a weird sound to it.
Okay, hold on a second.
It's gone right now.
Yeah, it doesn't
Or
sound
it's patching in and out.
All right, can you hear me?
Now.
Yep, crystal clear.
Okay, thank you for that. I apologize. My interface and the cords like tangled up.
All good.
Well, thank you, because I have to stream later. So now you helped my sound out. So I appreciate it. What was I saying? Oh, Wonder Woman 84. So initially thought it was just a flawed mess. Some good and some bad. Like the good over the bad. But the more bad reviews I hear, the more the ironic enjoyment of this movie come up. So this is becoming. So it didn't start off ironic. It started off, you know what? This was flawed. This was long. This should have been edited, but it was fun. And you know, I like Maxwell Lord. I thought, even though Wonder Woman was kind of a rapist and a kidnapper, I thought she made a cute couple with Steve Trevor.
That's hilarious.
And I found it interesting. I found Barbara Minerva more interesting than everyone else, just because I thought it was kind of comical, like the extremes that the way the people around her treated her, like when she was geeky and doing the like Selena Kyle from Batman Returns meets Edward Nygma from Batman Forever thing at the beginning of the movie. Everybody just treated her like crap. And then when everyone was supposed to, it was just so cliche. It was like kind of corny. But now the more I see that reviews, now the irony of it, now it's like this is becoming like a Batman and Robin situation where like this movie is incredible.
So it's so bad it's good.
Yeah, but what makes it good, what makes it better is that it's not quite so bad as good, if that makes any sense. Like it's the fact that this movie doesn't realize how bad it is. And it really is trying to be good.
That is interesting. I haven't seen it, but I think that is the core of So Bad It's Good. Is someone trying really, really hard, like really putting their heart into it, like The Room or Troll 2. Like I saw that video, like that documentary about Troll 2, which is really interesting.
Yeah, that is a great documentary. I saw
it was so good, but the guy, the filmmaker, still thinks it's a good movie.
Yes, that was a piece of art for him. He put so much, like
100%.
Like
all the people were online like, yeah, Troll 2, woo! And he's like, you guys like this? And they're like, yeah. He's like, what'd you? And they're confused. Like, he's like, what'd you like? He's like, it's awesome. Like he just was like, wait a minute, you honestly think this is like a good movie? Like, we like it ironically because it's terrible, but he doesn't know that, and that's an interesting point. I have not heard that take on Wonder Woman, that it's so bad it's good.
And it didn't, like, it wasn't until all of the flaws were pointed out that it actually crossed over. Like initially it was just like, okay, this is not a great movie, but it's okay enough. And I expected I had such low expectations. And I mean, I know this is a terrible thing to say, and this is a terrible indictment of expectations, but it was less woke than I thought.
Yeah, I think that was the impression a lot of people got. Now, when I heard them describe the villain, I was like, yeah, that's Trump. Like, he, they always say about Trump, oh, he's broke. He's really broke. He doesn't actually have any money. Well, that was what they depicted him as. And then he's a reality TV star. He's in I'm like, yeah, I mean, that's what they're doing. But apparently it wasn't overt. It wasn't obnoxious. You didn't feel it when you watched it, apparently.
I mean, I even said in my review, there's a chance that Pedro Pascal has such a distorted view of Trump. And it, like you said, they're going off these stereotypes that they have, but nobody else really thinks of.
Right.
And so you end up with something totally different. And I also thought he was borderline the hero of the damn movie.
That's hilarious.
And that's what makes it kind of weird.
Pedro Pascal's story is probably the story in Wonder Woman 84.
Yeah.
Realistically.
It is. And
the most interesting. He is over the top. He is characterized. He goes from highs to lows. You have character development on the man that isn't wasted, that isn't spent on other characters in the movie.
You mean they get more time developing his character than others?
Well, they do better developing his character than others. In the very, I mean, you get the first impression, you get the reality TV star, and you get that idea, well, he's a guy that everybody knows that's on television. And then you get this window into his life when he gets back to his business, and you find out it really is a sham. You see bills piling up. You see the empty department of his company, and then there's one of his investors who is pulling out on him. I mean, this guy, and then he's the father who wants to look up to his son. I mean, his story is more fleshed out, interesting, and I want to know what happens with Maxwell Lord.
Absolutely.
Why is Wonder Woman here?
I literally said in my review, and this is a plug for the review because it got killed. But here's what I said. I said Maxwell Lord's story is almost like an 80s movie in and of itself, where you have this business tycoon who's kind of putting up a front, and deep down he just wants to do right by his son because he had this tough life, and he gets more than he bargained for with his powers, and it becomes like this big meets Brewster's Millions 80s movie. And it would have been cool.
Can I give you another one?
Movie itself. Yeah, go ahead.
It's a little bit off, but the point of view they're still similar. Liar, liar.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a very good one. If they would have just stripped away Wonder Woman, this would have been like Liar, liar in the 80s.
See, doesn't he end up like? Isn't his big villainous thing that he grants everyone their wishes?
Yeah, but he takes something.
He's not. He has no concern for the damage he's doing. And he's very selfish and self-oriented about what he does because his first orientation is to take from people everything he thinks he can get from them. Because of the wishes he grants, he gets to steal something away, the monkey's paw thing, to take something that they value. He gets to choose that. And then it just runs away with itself because it becomes the power corrupts cycle.
Yeah.
Doesn't Wonder Woman save the day by convincing everyone to undo their wishes?
Yeah, that also happens. Which is,
could you imagine? Oh, I wish that my husband would stop dying of cancer, and then he does. And they're like, hey, give that wish back. Like, like what percentage of the people would actually do? That is the dumbest premise I've ever heard. Like, I thought, like, they examine an idea like that really well in The Dark Knight, right? Where it's like the collectivism thing, where people do the right thing when you don't think they're going to. But this doesn't make any sense on a global scale. Like, what? Like,
they don't expose you. They only expose you to the. They only expose you to the selfish truths. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, I'm just saying. Like, I want legs. I've never had legs. I think they're, you know, I was born without legs, so I want legs. I wish for legs. I got them. Now you're telling me to give them back because you say so. Like, what? Like, that must have been one hell of an argument.
The movie only shows examples of the selfish or negative truths. And the idea that the truth, which is the kind of tacked on through line of the movie, because it's the lasso of truth, and she somehow projects the powers of the lasso of truth through the beam that somehow Pablo is touching everybody on Earth with, and manages to convince them the whole thing. But the thing is that every truth that you have an example of in the movie is selfish, outright evil, as produces negative outcomes, or is just something that was so meaningless that it shouldn't have been a wish in the first place. You never have an example of the needs that could be given of a truth, the undoing drastic, terrible wrongs, even from a personal scale to a massive scale. What if someone's wish saved a bunch of lives, made dozens of lives, hundreds of lives better?
Right.
Yeah. It's the 80s. What if someone wished, man, I wish AIDS was gone? You know what I mean?
Right.
That is 84, so AIDS would have been hitting like crazy. So it would have been like, man, I wish it was gone.
Someone would have absolutely made that wish. Like, that's a really dumb idea. Like, I'm not saying it's a dumb idea to have the wishes thing. Okay, fine. But I mean, I feel like the world would implode if everyone was making wishes. Like, that doesn't make any sense. I feel like it would just destroy itself. Eventually, someone would wish. They wish the Earth wasn't here. I'm pretty sure someone would
just blow up.
Wish we were all dead. Like, whatever. But okay, fine. Let's assume that didn't happen. But then, like, the idea is that she convinces them to do it. Like, that is so fucking stupid. Like, I can't see how did you work that through? Like, it's such a lazy thing to do.
Not only is it lazy, it was actually stupid. So to me, and when I'm watching the movie, I thought after she convinced Maxwell Lord to give up his wish, that it was over. Like, okay, now that he's giving up his wish, everybody else's wish is going to be undone. And she didn't. I thought that was it. So the fact that they made that an extra part was stupid to me. Like, they didn't have to do that. That was their choice to do that. So I don't know why they. I don't know.
I didn't see a continuum.
There was
the continuum would have been he was the wishing stone. He was everything that the wishing stone. Everybody still made their wishes. If he goes back on it, then the wishing stone still granted all of these billions of wishes.
But I mean, there was no why was he able to talk to his son through the blue light? Like, nothing makes sense in this movie. So I mean,
he was able to touch everybody apparently.
Dude,
I mean, if you somehow connect this to the fact that the give of that of talking of being able to touch everybody on Earth with the particles from this communication system, then you are on levels of super science and plausibility. You are fully beyond into, well, if that's real. Maybe even that's probably one of the reasons why it had such negative negative pre-roll in all of the test screenings or something like that. The idea of what is actually going on in this film. The cognitive dissonance level was too high in too many cases, and maybe they never really figured out enough how to fix it.
Vigilante. Vigilante, your next video, dude, should be that Wonder Woman is an amazing movie. Like, you should say like it's the greatest movie of 2020. Like, that should be your video.
Ooh,
like,
the hot
just
take.
praising it, like, and just like, and like, but like not like authentically the things that you like, why it's so stupid you love it. Like, that's an awesome video. Like that was attraction.
All you have to do is say, I know, pick out the major problems. I know about this. I know about this. I know about this. Put them all up front, and then you roll on. I liked this thing. I liked this thing. I liked this thing. This thing was good. And even though I know that what I said in the first part was, it still felt good to me. All you have to do is turn all of that backwards, and you leave all the positives at the end.
But he doesn't.
And that's your hot take.
See, but I don't think Vigilante likes the movie. I think he likes it in spite of itself. Like, it's so stupid, it's good.
Yeah, and it's something
that
like,
would be the thing.
That's the video, dude.
I'm sorry.
So I did a review. No, you're fine. I'm sorry for cutting you off, man. But no, I did a review, but I didn't do it from that perspective. I was trying to do like right. I don't know, in my own head, be critical drinker and like break down everything that was wrong with it. But I still liked it. I didn't really do a good job of selling it.
That should be your video, dude. That's hilarious.
Well, that would be the difference, that you sell it. If you put a positive spin on it, then that's you giving it. You're giving it the old car salesman. You're putting the positive spin on everybody. That well, isn't this bad? Well, I didn't see that, or at least I was able to explain it away, or I liked that part of it.
Well, it's like the EFAP guys. It's like the way that they love Batwoman. Like, they love it because it's like obscenely terrible, and like they get so much joy out of that. It's like
that's it right there. It makes them laugh. They go, the joy comes from, that's so ludicrous, and
so
can you believe this thing? They decided to do this. That made more sense to them than this thing.
And you know what else I think is coloring my life? I've been watching a lot of the 60s Batman, and that is so brilliant because they're intentionally trying to do that.
That's interesting.
That's the joke, and that's what makes it so.
You have to have really good.
Figure they're completely aware of it, so they're full on into it.
You have to have such good touch to get that wrong, like to get that right wrong. You know, like it's like if you watch an actor, like great example is in that movie Boogie Nights with Julianne Moore, where she is playing the porn actress, and Julianne Moore's a genius, and so she's having her character act poorly, like doesn't have the skill to act. And that takes such a weird touch, a gift, and you just have to it's just right when you do it like that. Like, and that's that kind of like campiness, like on the nose campiness, but nailing it. That takes a weird, like a little fairy dust. Like that's a really elegant thing to nail, and it's really enjoyable when they do it.
Absolutely. Yep. And that may be coloring my taste a bit because of watching that. Because I think those shows those shows and that movie is brilliantly written to, like you said, do that. And I think that's what makes that incredible. I've been wanting to do a review of a lot of that, of the Batman 66 movie and a lot of the series, because of how, like, I hadn't watched it in so long, and you don't realize how well written it is to that camp element of hitting hard. I mean, we all know about that. You know, some days it's hard to get rid of a bomb, but that scene is a perfect example of that, of him just bomb that. Just there's like what the fuse is invisible, so you don't know how long it's going to last. And then every time he's trying to get rid of it, there's a no stupid reason why he can't, whether it's ducks or something. And then it finally explodes off camera, and he gives you the stupidest reason for why it didn't kill him. And it's like the way they do that, where it's obvious the joke in that's a running joke in the movie of these different stupid ways why they don't die. And it's just the way they do that. So the only thing I can compare it to is maybe a Naked Gun. But this takes itself.
Thinking of that when you were talking about this.
Yeah. But what makes it brilliant is they take themselves just that little bit more seriously than the Naked Gun. And that makes it like something else entirely.
Because they would Naked Gun would deconstruct stuff like that. Like when they did like the Police Files, the show that it was based on, like every episode when it would end, they would do like a freeze frame, like. And then they would all be holding the pose, and then like the guy that they arrested was like looking around and would like leave. Like it was so funny. It's just like such a good joke, such a like just such nice, just deconstructing like all these little elements that make TV. That's really fun. Like I guess an example of that, even though I don't get it, is Tim and Eric.
Yeah.
Their whole thing is deconstruction. I don't understand the jokes, but I guess that's their thing.
Yeah, I'm with you where I don't understand them, but then Eric Andre, I do understand.
Okay, I haven't really watched him.
Like I haven't really watched him either, but I'll like check his clips of his interviews and stuff like on YouTube. I haven't like checked out episodes. I don't know. I think some of that stuff gets Tim and Eric where like I don't get it, but then some of it's just like fucking hilarious.
What's wild, dude, is people though they do get it. Like I used to think that most of those fans were kind of ironic. That people were like, "Oh, this is different, so I like it." Like I don't, like secretly they don't actually find it funny, but they just know that it's so weird that's why they like it.
Mm-hmm.
But I went to a live show. My friend had tickets. I skipped work. We went to a live show, live Tim and Eric show. Dude, the audience, the laughs were really authentic. Like they were very genuine laughs. They all laughed at the same time. Like they got the jokes. And I'm like in a room full of people who are like, what is the joke? Like, I don't get it. What is so funny about any of this? Like, it's weird. Like, what's funny? It was so bizarre, but the fans, it's authentic. Their appreciation of it is real.
That's and maybe that's for me that's a positive because I have such a weird character that I'm doing with the mask and everything. So like, okay, so people will just get something that you're like, I don't get it. But yeah, because I didn't get Tim and Eric, even though the one thing I did like was Dr. Steve Brule. He was kind of funny. Like if you
that's a hot guacamole.
Yeah, that shit was kind of funny.
Fucking John C. Reilly is the man.
Yes,
he is the man.
He was funny. But the other shit I didn't get. I just didn't get it.
I saw him recently and I was rewatching Boogie Nights, which could be one of the best movies of the 90s. Authentically. Like I honestly think that movie ages so exceptionally. It is so good. And they use like oneers, like those long one shots everyone loves doing this around now. But they use it so effectively. Like it's really good at storytelling. Anyway, John C. Reilly's in it and he plays like the other porn star guy. And when he meets Mark Wahlberg's character. He's at the bar. He's just like, "Hey, what's going on? How you doing?" Just kind of like, like bravado. He's just like, "You work out?" And he goes, "Yeah, man. I work out sometimes. What do you bench?" He's like, "I don't know, 200." He's like, "Oh, that's pretty good. It's pretty good. I'm doing 250, but that's pretty good. You ever work out at so and so gym?" He's like, "Oh, what am I talking about? I'm there every day. I would have seen you." And it's so hilarious. He delivers it with just such earnestness. Like John C. Reilly rules.
Yeah, he's great. Goodness, I did not realize he was doing this back then. I haven't seen Boogie Nights in a while.
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah, a lot of movies in the 90s aged pretty well.
Yes, I agree.
Like especially I'll say throughout the 90s, but the later half of the 90s, the middle to the later half, it's just like there was some like LA Confidential is a movie that ages like incredibly well.
Yes. I mean, all of Tarantino's movies are like they feel not that they feel older, but they're so classic. They almost feel like they've been around longer than the 90s,
Yeah, I would agree. Pulp Fiction is a perfect example of that.
Perfect. I just watched Reservoir Dogs the other day. It's exceptional. It's still so fucking good.
I think that's my favorite Tarantino movie, Reservoir Dogs.
It's close. It's that or Pulp Fiction for me. It's one or the other. They're both so good and so watchable, and they age like a wine. They get so they're like a scotch almost. Like it's like
yes,
it keeps getting better. There's the movie I think that's the sleeper from that era is From Dusk Till Dawn.
Ooh,
because I think here's my theory on From Dusk Till Dawn. It's written by Tarantino and directed by Robert Rodriguez. But I think it's half of the movie was directed by Tarantino and half was directed by Robert Rodriguez. And they just said Robert Rodriguez directed it because it's two different movies. Like the first hour is vintage, ultra-violent, criminal Tarantino, like 90s. That's the movies he made back then. And it's a perfect example of that for an hour. Then when they get to the titty twister bar, the second half is this absurd, over the top, like really campy, like vampire hunting movie that is way more in line with the Rodriguez's style. And I think they split it up. I think that's what that movie is. That's my theory.
You know what? I mean, hearing it, that's one. Because to me, the big thing about that movie was the fact that it felt like two movies. Like I remember when that was like, oh, that twist, and then it becomes like a totally, entirely different type of movie.
The first time I watched it, I forgot there were vampires in the movie because the whole thing on the road was so compelling.
So I think that's an interesting take. I can't really. That's one I have to think about, but I don't. It doesn't sound implausible. It sounds plausible, especially because of just how closely those guys have worked together.
And like guys and like those two always do punk rock stuff like that. But like, there's the Coen brothers. Like, their editor is a pseudonym. Like, it's not. They edit their own movies, but they credit someone as the editor because they're not like allowed. There's some reason. There's some like.
Yeah, I've heard about that. There's something with. I don't know as much as the film industry. Legislation or whatever, the paperwork, but it's something, and I think that might even have something to do with why Robert Rodriguez and why they would have done what you said. Say, okay, this is the writer, this is the director,
something like that's what I imagine, because it's like they do stuff like that sometimes. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Didn't they do that with Sin City? I was thinking about that movie the other day.
That's an interesting question. I don't know.
Because I if I remember correctly, how it was actually done is Frank Miller directed one story. I want to say it could have been Robert Rodriguez and Tarantino, but I don't want to say that and be wrong. Who directed there were really three directors who all directed one story, but with like one vision of how they intersect.
Yeah,
and that's how they did it. And it was credited as Frank Miller, but I believe that they were trying to fight that because there were multiple directors on that, and I cannot remember who they were.
I'm gonna look it up right now.
Credited Frank Miller and Quentin Tarantino.
Wow. So that's really interesting. So Robert Rodriguez. So
there's one more credit.
Three directors
and
received
Rodriguez.
credit for Sin City. Frank Miller, Rodriguez, and Tarantino. Wow.
Yeah. Wow.
That is really interesting. I didn't know Tarantino directed Sin City. Like, I had anything to do with it. But that makes
not until you brought that up.
Yeah. And his scene, actually, I think Tarantino had the smallest, because there were three. I hadn't seen. That's another movie I need to check out.
That's good.
One of the fun things because of this channel is I'm going to watch a lot of movies I haven't seen in a while to kind of get a feel for them for reviews. That's going to be a fun thing.
Hell yeah.
But I can't remember which story. I was actually just thinking about that the other day because I was just thinking about Frank Miller and how like inconsistent of a storyteller he is, and how like certain ways of his storytelling work perfectly in certain instances and terribly in others.
Interesting. I don't really know. I've never read any of his work. I don't really know him.
Well, you know, I can't even say that. I haven't read a ton. I mean, The Dark Knight Returns, and then I read some of like the terrible stuff he was doing with Batman in the 2000s when they would give him like Holy something Batman, or it was just stupid. He made a bunch of
really? It got corny.
All-star Batman. It was just like really crazy. It was like, I thought you understood Batman. Now you're just making him into the Punisher. He just I don't know. It was almost like he was trying to deconstruct Batman in this angry way. It's weird.
People get bored. People get like a little frustrated. I think, I think sometimes like it's like that gratitude. Well, it's like that gratitude thing that Gary talks about, like it's like why it's so important. I think it's sometimes that people like in creative positions, they almost resent what they get pigeonholed into as like, am I just a fucking comic? I like this. I read Dostoevsky. I know how to write. I'm a writer. And I gotta fucking write these goddamn comic books. You know what I mean? It's like you almost like resent your success a little bit or something like that. Like you like, or you don't, you feel trapped. So it's kind of, you can kind of have a contentious relationship with your subject or your audience.
That's interesting. Like, see, I was gonna go with. I mean, it's kind of a similar thing, but there's like a difference. Like, I get the idea of a band tired of playing the same song from a creative stagnation standpoint, but not a like angry at the fans. Like, I get
it happens.
Like, I get why an artist can make a really crazy ass album or a really crazy ass movie or whatever. I understand why you take a chance because like, okay, I just have to do something creatively, but I don't understand being like, oh, these fans, they just pigeonhole me. I get it. You want to do something different, and creativity can go wherever it goes. But yeah,
are you leaving, Franco? Is that what you're saying, buddy?
Yes.
Oh man, well, it was good.
I wanted to let him finish his thought so that it didn't interfere.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
I'm going to get out of here. So since we're in this pause right here, thank you for inviting me, Matt. Vigilante, it's good sharing the screen with you.
Yeah, man.
Sub to both of these guys because they're doing way more interesting things than I am right now.
But sub to Draco.
Yeah, sub to Draco.
He's got
And,
he's got what's the most recent one you just did? The Expanse teaser, right?
just teasing episodes of The Expanse each week.
Hell yeah. Dude, it's great. Dude.
In my own particular milieu, or whatever you want to call it.
Nice. Links in the description or links in the chat, guys. So if if you like what Draco's putting out there, give him a sub. Even if you didn't give Draco a sub, he's a good shit.
Thank you.
You're welcome, buddy.
Take care, guys. Enjoy the new year. It comes for us all very soon.
Happy New Year. Jesus, that was ominous.
Happy New Year.
Good to see you, Mike.
Well, it is only 2021. Do you think it's going to be different?
I don't know.
It's just going to be the sequel.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's The Dark Knight.
Yeah. It's
I don't know. A lot of people like Batman Begins.
They're wrong.
But
it sucks.
Whoa, that's a hot take. I wouldn't go that far. Now,
there
Dark
you
Knight
go.
Rises-
You can talk about that now.
Yeah.
Later, guys.
See you, Draco.
All right. See you.
We can get into that, but you know what? I just think there's a difference though, like of taste there. I mean, it's not. I don't like Nolan. I really don't enjoy his storytelling style. I don't like his scripts. I don't like his dialogue.
I would agree with the dialogue. I agree with the dialogue and the scripts. I totally agree with the dialogue and the scripts.
Brutal.
I agree that you know what Nolan can be sometimes. Nolan can, and this is going to be a hot take, and a lot of people. I'm going to piss off both fan bases when I say this.
Nice. Do it.
Nolan is a little Zack Snydery in a sense where his strengths are really visual,
Boom.
but not storytelling. Even though Nolan, I think, is a much better storyteller than Snyder, and I think Inception is great, but I understand everyone's flaws with Inception. I absolutely get that.
You nailed it. That is exactly what it is. He has great ideas.
Yes.
His concepts are brilliant. His visual mastery, his action choreography, all that shit is excellent. But his scripts are for fucking children.
Oh God.
Right? He explains this. He has characters explain the story to the audience as it's happening.
Yes.
It's juvenile, and he has not corrected. That is just an earmark of a Nolan script. He does that. It's not like a thing he had to grow out of. I mean, there are moments in Batman Begins where I honestly am like offended. Like one of the first things I ever put out, like a YouTube video I'd made, this was like years ago. It's not even up anymore, but it was this thing I made called Matt Hates Your Favorite Movies. And I would go through movies like
bring that back.
I know, right? I should figure that out. I should figure out a way to do that again. But I would just trash. And it was like, you couldn't, like, I could not believe some of the dialogue. Like there was a moment where it was like, literally, it felt like he was being like, do you understand where we're at, audience? This is the story. It's like, yeah, I'm watching the movie. I know it was so condescending. And I was like, I cannot believe people think this is genius.
He doesn't demand. I almost feel like he's one of those guys that, as a director, because like I love watching like behind the scenes of like the Dark Knight trilogy and just seeing him work as a director.
Yeah,
but he does this thing what I think is good for a leadership for a creative role. By the way, what I'm about to say, but there's a plus where he comes up with his vision, and he to the extent that at least they show, it seems like he brings what he wants from his vision for whatever department it is, whether it's his costume department or whatever department, but then he lets them go and lets them come up with whatever they want. And that leads to the like not really giving the script the attention it needs.
Interesting.
Because he's just like so caught up in the spectacle of the film.
I think that's how you get the best out of people, is to let them do it. Like,
yeah, that's why I say I agree with that. But
I agree with that 100%. I think if you kind of just tell people what to do, they'll give you a shittier version than what you want. But if you let them like figure it out, like I know that would work. Like when I'm at work, like if my boss tells me like exactly what to do, like step by step, there's probably a chance I'm going to fuck up. But if he just tells me to take care of XYZ task, I'm going to do it much better, because now I'm using my own faculties to figure out what to do, how to do it, considering all the different details. And that's where I think you get the best out of people, is allowing them to, succeed on their own without, kind of forcing them how to do things. That's really interesting.
Yeah, I think that's a good thing. But you know what it is? You watch football? Were you a football fan at all?
I've been a football fan at times. I mean, this year I watched a little bit of it. I mean, the only games I saw was when the fucking Jets beat the Rams. And
I haven't watched much football. I haven't watched much football this year. I'll be honest. But I mean, the concept. If you've watched football, you understand the concept of how the coaching staffs work. Where there's a head coach, offense coordinator, maybe position coaches, whatever. Mm-hmm. So great coaches still have a specialty, and I guess what the thing is, Nolan's specialty as far as his coaching is the visuals, and is like a great offensive coach who can't coach defense, sort of thing. You know what I mean? Where
knowing your flow, knowing what your strengths are, and not trying to do everything, not trying to do too much.
And I think he needs somebody who is a great writer with him to do what you're saying with the script. Because you know what it was like. I liked a lot. I still love a lot of his movies. I still love those movies. But when I saw Interstellar, that's when it really smacked me in the face what you're telling me. Because oh my God, that movie bothered me. When he was in the room and he was beating on the thing, I said, that's him. I already know. I knew the whole movie. First scene. Because because
I didn't, but I didn't care when I realized it. I just didn't care.
I knew it because the way the thing reacted, I'm like, I bet you that's him. Because I know they were doing with black holes, and I'm like, well, doesn't that do with time? I bet you there's a time thing. And sure as shit, everything went together. And he uses this he really loves reiterating stuff, man. God, he loves reiterating stuff.
Which is amazing because he made Dunkirk, which is probably the most patient film I've maybe ever seen. There is no exposition whatsoever for the entire film. It just depicts things happening, and then you eventually figure out what's going on. It gives you zero. Even in Private Ryan, they're like, oh, this guy's behind enemy lines. We got to go get him. This is what we're doing. There is none of that. Zero. Zip. You just follow some soldier running out on the beach, and then he's trying to escape because the Nazis are behind him. But you even have to kind of piece a lot of that together. And then it's so much is happening, but it's all, you have to really figure out what's going on. You really need to watch that movie. And to me, that was one of the most patient films I've ever seen. I've seen since fucking Kubrick. I was blown away by how patient that movie was. So he obviously can do it. He just chooses not to. Yeah.
You know what else? See, I hadn't seen Dunkirk. I just hadn't because I knew it was a long movie. And I wanted to, and I still want to. Who knows? I may review it. But another thing he likes to do, for better or worse, and I think, this is just what he is. And I actually like a lot. I still, I'm plus him, positive him. He likes to do brain teaser because I think,
yes,
that Mementos, his first big movie,
right, was
a massive brain tease.
Yep.
And that's what makes his movies interesting because there's I mentioned Inception. There's a brain tease. There's and that's why I think he's so beloved. And I think that's what people love to sort of. But when you talk about
gift, that's a real thing. Having those ideas, that's a gift to be able to explore them. Apparently that's what's going on in Tenet.
Yeah, I haven't seen Tenet either.
I haven't either. I don't think I will, but it's that's what they're doing. I don't want to spoil it, but it's something to do with time and one it's going against time. One person's moving forward in time, one person's moving backwards, and there's all these wild ideas that are explored. It's kind of these grand concepts, and that's what he excels at. That's his skill. He just needs to write the fucking scripts. It's Luke.
That's a great one. Lucas, I was just gonna say that.
Dude, speaking of Star Wars, did you see that Gina Carano is on Drunk 3PO's channel?
I did see that. I haven't seen it yet, but I was going to.
It just came out a few hours ago, but I was like, what a huge get.
It is a huge get. It's a massive get. She's one of the most popular people on earth right now.
Right?
I was believe...
brilliant. It came out 2 hours ago. It's got 14,000 views. That is genius, man. It's a half-hour interview. That is so awesome, dude. I'm so happy for that guy. Way to go.
Whoever says simping won't go far. I'm just joking. I love Drunk.
Simping ain't easy.
Simping ain't easy. But that is awesome. That's cool. And it seems like his subs just jumped for that too.
I hope so. I hope it did. Yeah. I think this channel might explode. I think that's great for YouTubers. I think that's a tremendous win for us. for YouTube.
Yes. Especially because drunk. I mean, he has a good channel, but
Yeah,
it means under 20K. So that means it's like, that's a, big for it's a big YouTube for us. I would love to be even more close to that. But it's
Of
like,
course.
okay. But you know what I mean? It's like that's an under 100K channel getting one of the bigger stars in Hollywood. That's a pretty big deal.
It's not like it's Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's
not like
just
it's Tim Pool.
I mean, like Thoth told me he's been following Drunk 3PO since he had 18 subs. You know what I mean? Like he's just a dude, and like he's built a channel. You know what I mean? But it's like for him, I would love to know how that went down.
Well, I know, like he would be on Parler and Twitter and like like message whatever. I didn't really follow it, but I just knew of it. I knew of him like simping for Gina. They would joke about that and on different streams. You know what I mean? And so I didn't really know what was going on, but I know he was just like tweeting her and I don't know if he was had her in the mentions or whatever. I don't social media. I'm like a boomer with the shit.
I don't either. I hate social media.
Yeah. I don't even know what the lingo is for the shitter and the crap chat and the Insta scam. But like he was supposedly he was supposedly constantly tweeting at her, and I guess she would react to it and like certain tweets and stuff. I don't even know. She may have even been following him at one point.
Dude, that's fucking wild because remember Pedro, he had that thing with Ryan and he watched his stream and it's like, dude, Ryan and Drunk 3PO do streams together all the time. They're like a team.
Yeah.
And it's like one guy was like the boon of the the Hollywood of the Mandalorian, and then one girl is now like the hero and she's on the channel. Like it is just crazy. It's like they manifested that shit,
Yeah, it kind of is. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Like, I didn't even think about that, but you're right.
Because we've been tracing her since since it turns out she's not a zombie. We're like, you're in this, and you are also like on board with like how we like kind of view the world a little bit. It's like, what? That is awesome. Go Gina Carano. We've been praising her in everything we ever do. You see FNT, you see ads, you see all these guys. They love it. They give her all the props in the world, and then now she's like actually stepped over the line and joined. And like is like on like a YouTuber's channel that like is in the Fandom Menace. Like that is so fucking cool.
Wow. So I'm looking, just Googling this as of 2 weeks ago, and we got this covered. So they're not going to be favorable to her. IMDb has her as the second most popular celebrity in the world.
Holy shit.
So I mean that's a pretty, I would say IMDb is a pretty formal, if you're going to take it from something and then take it from like again a site that you would imagine is not going to be favorable to her, having to say that.
Well, the IMDb star meter is just an algorithm. I mean, it's just
know.
No, I'm just saying. I'm just like it's like it has to do with how many times like people click on the name and shit like that, and it just goes up. And like in a certain amount of time, like it's a whole thing. It usually coincides with what's the big show. But that is wow. But
it put her, not Pedro.
Wow.
You know what I mean? So for what that says is for the Mandalorian algorithmic attraction, it went to her.
Wow.
For that, because if what you say, because I don't know about that ranking, but if that's how it's calculated, that would have meant all the attention from the Mandalorian would have been her instead of Pedro. Yeah. That's crazy.
Dude. That has got to drive I don't know. I would say like that's got to drive woke people fucking nuts.
I think we saw with the damn Pablo Hidalgo thing that there is a civil war. That shit is not. It's not a farce. There are definitely people. That's what we're seeing with the Pedro, who I credited as Maxwell Lord. But like, we see that there are definitely people at Lucasfilm, and I'm sure at all these other companies, who are with us. And there are people who are not.
I agree.
Even
I think you know what it was. Didn't one of them like JJ or somebody? Didn't someone acknowledge the Fandom Menace? Like they used it by name.
Supposedly J.J. Abrams did. This would have been like a couple years ago.
Yeah, but and now he's definitely, dude. I mean, there's no way Favreau doesn't like at least feel the same way we do. If he has no idea about any YouTubers, doesn't understand the community, so on and so forth, fine. But like, I think at the very least he understands. He has the same feelings that we do.
Yeah. I mean, hell, and I actually didn't know this until looking it up. One Gina Carano's ex, the beloved Henry Cavill,
I was
also
has Thoth. Isn't that fascinating?
Yeah, that is crazy.
What a fucking power couple, dude.
Yeah, and they're not together. They both have got more popular since they've broken up, which is crazy.
Yeah. Well, they're both. I mean, they're both the same. We both respect them for the same reasons. Like they're in cool shit, which we all like. Obviously, they don't fuck around with any of the bullshit.
No, and fucking got to give Henry Cavill credit. He did all but warn us for Witcher 2. I didn't see the first season of Witcher, but you can't walk into you. You're not. It's not a cyberpunk situation. He told you there are tons of bugs coming into the Witcher 1. He did his part to try to fix it. That's literally what he said.
Elegant the way he because it was they always talk about dog whistles. Like there were dog whistles in there. We were just like, oh, I get it. They're focusing on the women now. They're turning it into the the womener. And it's like, okay, all right, cool. Like he gave us a little nod, and it's like, all right, thanks for the heads up.
Yeah. I mean, what can you do? That's it. It is actually crazy when you think that Hollywood's gotten that way, because what other era would like a true leading man, which Henry Cavill is, have so little say on his show? Like you would never hear about something like that.
Show where it's about this guy and then you make it about someone else. Why? Why would
makes no sense?
It's like that'd be like halfway through Breaking Bad. Now it's about Skylar. It's like why? Yeah. It's not her show. Like no one's tuning. Why would you do that? Like we're here for Henry Cavill. We're here for Superman. What are you doing?
I'm trying to think. Like, okay, like imagine when The Sopranos would at its peak.
Yeah.
If they just said, like, if they just start ruining Tony Soprano and James Gandolfini was like, "Hey, man, you're not gonna fuck with my character," and they would just say, "Oh no," the media would have lost their shit because of how beloved the show was.
Yeah.
They wouldn't even been able to get away with trying to do that back then to like a show like that.
Because the media wasn't like 100% lockstep with the studios and shit like the way they are now. Like, remember when when The Last of Us 2 leaks happened and channels got strikes and shit like that? Bro, you Googled that. The media, it was like literally the exact same story on every single media outlet. It was chilling. It was chilling how uniform the reporting was. Nothing about YouTubers getting strikes. Nothing. Big channels losing money.
Really big channels.
Nothing about any that. Dude, that is a story. I don't know what I don't like. That is news, but they don't report it because it's like it's not sanctioned. It's like a propaganda release. From like the Goebbels.
That puts me in mind. You ever see the thing with all the different newscasters saying the exact same thing?
Yes. A threat to our democracy.
Yeah, that's the exact same thing. That's it. That's what this is. Exactly. That coordinated. It's scary.
It is scary, but that's why it's great that YouTube is what it is now.
Yeah,
that there are these people that you listen to. Like I was thinking about that. Did you listen to Gary's Nooner the other day?
Which one?
It was epic. It was just and then he had Jeremy and Drinker.
Yeah, with Drinker. Yeah, I did see. I saw a good portion of that.
Yeah, I haven't finished it. I haven't I just stopped listening to it, but it was epic. It was just like a casual
night tights.
Yeah, it really was, man. It was like, and they were just on. They were all on the same. Like it was a nice merry-go-round of point. Like it was such a good show. But I was thinking as I'm listening, I fucking love you guys. Like I love that you guys say it like it is.
Yeah.
No bullshit, no filter, no agenda, no gods you have to honor. Just what you see and think, and you put it out there. It's like, thank God for you guys.
Yeah, it's very freeing to watch. You know what I mean? That's why it's a lot easier to not watch sports, or it's a lot easier to not watch the mainstream media. It's a lot easier when you can just toss on Doomcock or Gary or whoever else, or Eric July or whoever else you like. And there's a million other guys that I can't think of, right
and there's
now.
all the other stuff too. Like I watch a lot of like comedy. Like there's a lot of comedians that have great shows that are the History Hyenas is a really good example. These two mooks from Brooklyn, these guys, Chris Stefano and Giannis Pappas, they're hilarious. But
you mentioned them before.
They're really funny, but they make jokes like making fun of like woke culture and shit like that. It's all comedy, so it's not like how Gary seriously like addresses shit like that. Like they generally do it from a joking point of view, but still like they go after it, and it's just interesting. It's like it's engaging. There's so much out there that I would rather consume than the garbage they tell me is so great.
Yeah, I think I think there's a lot of reasons that is. Part of it is we have an entire industry of entertainment that literally lost the script in multiple levels. Or what was the, I don't know if I said the phrase right, but lost the script, lost the plot. That's what I'm trying to say.
Lost the plot.
Lost the plot. Yeah. And multiple levels, not the script. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking. We were talking about Nolan in the script.
That's insightful. Lost the plot.
They lost the plot. They lost the plot with how to interact with fans, and then they lost the plot on how everything works. Because like a lot of these media companies, maybe it's because they're ran by older people, they think a lot of things work in the 90s. Like, okay, we will put out a report and the people will believe it because we are the mainstream media.
Right.
And we will put out a TV show or a movie, and because it came from us,
right, it's
more important. And because, you know, they still think we have the cable stations or whatever else they think that, you know, it's like, no, we don't need you. We don't need you at all. I can go on Twitch.
It's like what my dad said. They make this shit mediocre because you have to watch it. Like there's no other option. They don't need to put any energy into it because you will watch it. You'll watch, and that's the thing that isn't true anymore. Like we are not beholden to them any longer. They are not the only game in town.
Yeah.
And that's what's so interesting. You know, it's like, you know, I'm watching The Expanse right now. Like I love it.
Yeah. But
I find it's like, if I'm going to turn out, like the beauty of what Netflix used to be was that you'd find like last season's Breaking Bad would be on there. And that was awesome. You know, like you'd watch, and you'd catch up. Like all the shows were like in one place, so you could watch it. Now I turn on Netflix, like there's nothing on there. Like there's a bunch of movies I've either already seen or I'm only like lukewarm interested in, and then like all their original content. But it's like, as soon as I open up YouTube, there's like 14 videos I want to watch.
Absolutely. And that's actually a side effect of the streaming wars because everyone's content has splintered off instead of Netflix having everything. Oh, Netflix. That was what made the streaming service of Netflix so good.
Yeah.
And now I'm almost wondering, I've said this before, like, is streaming even the in-game technology for how we consume media, or at least streaming as it's currently constituted with how Netflix and Amazon is, or is it a stopgap technology for something that combine? I've always said it'll combine like the Twitch or the interactivity element.
Well, that is a huge part about it. I mean, something I love about this medium, you know, is the interaction with the chat. Like that's fun. Like when I was just on here by myself, like just having like people to talk to click on, like that is so engaging. And also when I'm a viewer, I love that my ideas and my thoughts are being discussed by the people that I enjoy watching, that I respect, that like I think is fun. Like I send a super chat and they start a conversation for 10 minutes based on what I say, or Gary directly addresses the camera like with what I said and thought. It's a huge moment for me. And it's like that people like that. They like the human interaction. And I think we're realizing like more and more, just because you're in front of the camera, just because you got picked doesn't make you all that fucking special.
No. And a lot of it actually, it started, I always feel like this is a slow burn. I mean, it started the first time a person didn't get an autograph from a celebrity, you know what I mean? Sure. Wherever that was, of this, you know, they're better than us, where some people fed into it, like in a celebrity worship.
I did. I sure did. I still probably do on some level, but I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I just mean that, like, I mean, there's something to it, but there's something like I think we're going through a cultural like demystification, if that's a word, of celebrity, of Hollywood, of entertainment. Like we're as a culture being demystified by our entertainers. By the way, at their own hand.
Yeah, they've knocked themselves off their own pedestal.
Yeah, like stupidity. It's as if they like pulled the curtain back, took their makeup off, and were taking a shit and like, hey, look, I'm just a regular person. I'm stupid. I'm uninteresting. Like I'm not anything special other than I put the work in. Like that's all it is. And like it's like, but they're the ones who guided us into seeing that. It's like if you just kept up the curtain and you just kept the show going, we would all worship you still. We would still think you were fascinating and brilliant. It's just that they are aggressively deconstructing their own medium and their own demystified. Eric K still here. What a fucking prince. Yeah. What a prince, Eric K.
Wish to the stars, Eric K.
3 hours.
Yeah, he's the people call me mystery. Eric K's the real mystery to life. I want to learn more about Eric K.
Eric K is a fascinating guy. I hung out with him in Vegas.
Oh, really? How was all that? I remember you guys.
Fucking awesome. It was so much fun because I was hanging out with like Nick, like Nick Weiser. Dude, Nick Weiser is such a good dude.
Yeah,
he's got such. You can tell he's just a good-hearted guy, just like down for fun and just a good dude. We gambled. We went to the Bellagio together. It was great. It was really fun. Yeah, it's cool. Hung out with Jake. Me and Jake went for a hike. We went to Red Rock Canyon, which is like utterly gorgeous. It was fun, dude. I hope that next year it's like a full-blown Fandom Menace event because it was a blast just hanging out with those guys.
Yeah, I'll definitely go next year. I was still in the process of like getting to know everybody this year and stuff like that. And plus, I didn't have I would have to plan for something like that.
Yeah, and the coof and all that stuff. We played a bit of poker and won a bit. He won. I lost at black. Well, I did okay. I lost at poker. I won at blackjack. But it was a good time, man. I stayed at the Luxor, which was it was a cool. I feel like it'd be more fun, like when it's all in full swing and when everyone's can go. That would be fun. But I had a blast. I had a ball. So yeah, I won at both and craps, and he won at craps.
Right, most interesting mod on Eric K.
He's a good dude, man. He's funny too. Eric K is funny. He's funny to hang out with. I was trying to do an impression of him because he would kind of look at you like this. He kind of had this like little look where you go. He kind of like looked like sideways up at you. It's really funny. He's funny fucking guy. Slots are the bandits. Yes, slots are. I don't even understand slots. I don't even get the point. It's like, what is this? You just like pull it. I don't know. I didn't get it. Although Nick won like $60 on one of the slots. So
I think slots, they're like loot boxes in video games. It's the same sort of psychological thing. That's why they're considering them gambling because it's the same.
100%.
So
where are you at with Cyberpunk right now?
I ended up taking it back.
Nice.
I took it back, and I meant to even make a video out of our conversation because I've even probably said this to you before in the stream. I just realized I didn't do my intro when I came in. Shit.
Oh shit! You want to do it now?
Oh man, it lost the whole spirit. I just came in doing just doing what I was doing. Totally, I fucked it up. I fucked up the whole gimmick. The whole gimmick of Vigilante Wiz. Huh? I have to do it. I feel wrong if I go intro. Vigilante Wiz here with the third episode. I think it's the third. Fireball Productions that I've been on. I messed the intro up. But
better late than never.
Better late than never. Yeah, that's what she said.
That's what she said.
But if you did, then good luck. But the Cyberpunk conversation that we had, I ended up like really getting what you were saying when I started to play it more. And then I was like, you know what? First off, with these bugs and the fact that I can take it back, I'm gonna take it back. The real debate is if I'm going to rebuy it once it's in a more complete state, and that I don't know the answer to.
I don't know. I want a good game. Obviously, I want a good game, but I don't know. I feel like my faith has been dashed. My goodwill has been, kind of exploited, and I don't know. It would have to be one hell of a fucking game. Like it would. What the fuck are you doing, Luke? My cat's just being like a jerk. But I don't know. I feel like we saw through them. I feel like it's like we saw like their rough draft and it was ugly. And it's like, I don't even know if I'm interested in the finished product. Like,
you can't make another first impression.
You can't. And it was just such a bad game. Like it was manipulative. It was uninspired. It was flat. It was just
the manipulative thing gets me. Nothing is worse than feeling like you were intentionally lied to.
Nothing's worth. So I wanted Eric Cave in his chat. As I told you before, we played any money on anything. They build those $1 billion casinos for a reason, and it's not to lose money. Yeah. My point was that like every hospitality business, like there is, for the most part, the way they make their money, like their biggest margins, the biggest money maker is alcohol, because it's like the highest margin that you can sell it at. It's like what keeps a lot of businesses open. In casinos, they give it away.
Yes.
That's all you need to know about how lucrative gambling is.
Yeah.
They can give away the moneymaker of every other business.
Yeah, because I mean, it adds to the experience, especially when you talk about a Vegas or an Atlantic City. Like the energy of the casinos there is like, oh man, I'm going to this area to gamble, drink, and have fun.
And it is fun. You get looser. You feel good. Like you get a little buzz from the alcohol. If you win a few hands of blackjack, all of a sudden you feel like a king.
Yeah, you just feel like the world is in your, like on your side at that moment.
Until you lose, then you feel the opposite.
Yeah. Just sometimes you just feel like fuck it. It was fun.
Yeah, that's true. You feel that too.
Like
That's how I felt at first. When it got consistent with the losing, I was like,
yeah, you got to have a losing limit.
yeah, I gotta go. Gotta leave this town.
Yeah.
It's funny. We were talking about like New Vegas,
Mhm.
Well, the last time we were talking about this, that's exactly what I ended up doing. As soon as I was like, this game sucks, I started a New Vegas campaign.
And it's funny because that's a game like, okay, I can be a casual. So there's a lot of games where I haven't actually played them, but I've like watched videos on them and stuff like that. So like the Fallout series is a series where I've watched more videos of and not actually played the game because I just find that.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
There's no real reason. Like I said, I could be a casual. Sometimes with games, sometimes it's like, okay, when a game comes out, if I am like super busy at that very time, I won't really play it at launch. And then I'm like, it's already now an old game when I finally had the time to play it. And then whatever game that happens to come out in that space, I'll end up playing. And then I end up got really big into like simple indie games and like retro games.
That's cool. You know what I started playing the other day?
They said just 2D.
No, I know what you're saying. Like a side scroller thing. I started playing Chrono Trigger the other day.
Ooh, yeah.
Old school, man. It was from like the 90s, 95 or some shit.
Yeah, SNES, I believe.
Yeah. My buddy recommended it to me. It's another one of those games that another one of those things where I remember I was saying I thought people like only ironically enjoyed like Tim and Eric.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I thought people like felt about SNES. I thought that they just kind of ironically played it like, oh, this is better, Like I thought they were just like being like too pussy to sack up and play the new games.
Yeah.
But then I was hanging out with this kid and he's showing me, and he has so much passion for these games. I was like, oh shit, you like for real like these games? And he's like, I play them all the time. I was like, wow. So he convinced me to start playing Chrono Trigger, and it's actually pretty fucking good.
Yeah, it's a good game. I would compare it liking 2D type games or like retro type games, or either the actual retro games like a Chrono Trigger, or they have like modern games that kind of like put you in mind of those type of games. It's almost like liking animation. You know what I mean? Where it almost
like anime, like Japanese animation.
Not necessarily anime. Well, I guess maybe it's a little bit different now. But like if you remember there was a time, maybe even 5 or 10 years ago, where if you were an adult and you like cartoons, it was sort of like, what the fuck? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's almost the same type of thing.
I still have to calm that judge down. I mean, still,
yeah.
You wouldn't watch the old Batman, fucking loser.
Yeah. And because I was that nerdy motherfucker watching the shit, like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like, you know what I mean? Why are you watching a cartoon? You're a grown ass man.
You're an adult. Grow up.
Yeah. And that's the same sort of thing. Like you like that's where you're like, you like a 2D game. It's the same sort of like, to me, a lot of it is it's not just a nostalgia. It's like it gets to the kid inside of you, sort of thing.
Yes, there's that for sure. I mean, sometimes like that type of stuff is really enjoyable though. Like sometimes, like if you go back and look at some like Disney movies or Pixar movies,
yeah,
they're incredibly well written.
Yeah,
they're definitely. They're efficient, they're interesting, and so they have like these. They have reasons for you to watch it, like why you liked it as a kid, like why kids enjoy it. Like you can also maybe enjoy that sometimes too. So it's like there is something very charming about that, or like. I had this kind of urge. I was like, I want to go play Mario 64, like, yeah, there's something fun about that kind of thing. Like, I think, you should probably consume complex adult entertainment as well, but there's room for the simple fun stuff.
Yeah. And it's funny. I think Pixar was huge in knocking that wall down. I think Pixar films were like, because there was a point in the 2000s where it was like, okay, some of the better films of the year is going to be whatever Pixar comes out with that year. Bro,
I watched The Incredibles the other day. It was excellent.
Yeah. I mean, they went through a stretch of like, it was like from Toy Story 2 to like WALL-E, like everything they did in between. They were just, and I may be missing some movies.
I want to go back and watch Wall-E. I haven't seen that since I saw it in theaters, and I'm curious.
I would love to watch that now because that's a different movie now. That movie hits. That's going to hit different. When you talk about everybody's lazy, everybody's gonna, that feels like, oh shit, that's 10 years from now.
I mean, and the giant corporation is Amazon.
Yeah,
we get everything all from one store. Like when I watched it for the first time, I thought it was Walmart. But now you're looking like, no, it's Amazon. That's where you get all our stuff from.
Yeah, and a lot of those things are going to hit a lot more different now than they did. And they were already hitting, because that was we were already leaning towards that stuff because the internet was already starting to, be big. We were always starting to kind of become more sedentary and interact with each other less and be more isolated. And shit, that's been turned up to $1 trillion, especially this year.
Bro, you don't have to leave your house now. I mean, like, in metropolitan areas for sure. Like, if you can get your groceries delivered, if you live in an area where you don't have to leave.
Yeah, I don't really have to leave my house.
Right.
And the few times I do, there's a lot of stuff in the area walking distance. So I don't even have to go outside of a mile. And if I do, I can just get it delivered.
Amazon changed the game. Like, I'm thinking about moving. I'm thinking about maybe going to Austin. And I'm like, well, I mean, as long as I can get all my Amazon deliveries, like my life's not going to change that much as far as like the shit that I populate my house with,
Yeah.
As long as I can get that, like it's not gonna vary all that much, It's grocery stores are grocery stores,
Yeah. And, they're just different chains. Maybe it's a different name, but you just go to that store, whatever it is, if you move.
Yeah. What are you streaming about later? What do you got going on?
Actually, Comics Division, because I was on Wes Moody's webcast yesterday, and Comics Division, I think I'm streaming with him if he.
Oh, that's great, dude.
So I'm like, man, that's crazy.
Fucking A, man. Tell him, give him a little hello from me. I'm a fan. I like comics.
Yeah, I was surprised that because Wes just invited me on. I was surprised when him and Tom came in later. I'm like, oh man, this is cool.
Oh, Tom too. Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, I'm like, whoa, this is. And I hope I didn't wear them out, but I'm like, what the fuck am I doing here? You know what I mean?
It's like they're kind of like, they're like made men in the family.
Yeah, I'm like, shit. I'm on a stream with like 2/5 or however many, because a bunch of different, but like part of Friday Night Tights. Holy shit! How the fuck did I?
Dude, our little circle, because we had, what is it? Jake D was on Friday Night Tights. For real.
Yeah. And he gave us all shout outs.
Yeah, he did. That was so cool. I was flattered.
It's like, man, that has made that. We were talking about the good, bad, and ugly on that stream. And my good was meeting you guys and meeting everybody. And just, this has been the most fun I've had all year, has been this.
Hands down.
Yeah.
Hands down, dude. Without doing this, it was just staving off boredom and existential crisis.
Absolutely.
Like it was, I mean, it was, I mean, how many video games can you play?
Yeah.
Like how many just repetitive days of doing absolutely nothing can you like live through and still feel okay about yourself? You know what I mean? Oh, Midnight's Edge After Dark. Tom had Gary as a wrench, FYI. Huh? Really? Oh, that's right. Gary was saying that. I don't know if it was FNT or the other day, but he said that's how he started off. He started off like modding for people, and then he said he was a terrible mod.
You know what's funny? I started off modding for people. I was the channel Sweetcast. He does like comics and stuff. He's like a Comicsgate guy. Okay. He's a cool guy, Clint. And there's a non-zero chance I actually met him way before. I don't know if he knows that, but I wanted to ask him, like, I think I actually may know you. But anyways, I modded for him, and I was a terrible mod. Sometimes I put the wrong links and shit.
Oh no!
But I try my best and that made me feel really bad actually, because he would always have guests on selling their books, and actually I haven't been a mod for like the past couple months because of this stuff. I'm sure I wonder because it was no like formal communication. He just made me a wrench, and I just started doing it because it was cool.
That's cool. That's dope.
But I'm wondering, he's like, what happened to that one mod I had? I'm like, I've been a little busy.
Oh, right on. So well, I mean, yeah, your own channel. I mean, that's like just like when you first started.
Bro, so that's what's kind of like I basically stopped because I just haven't really had time.
I mean, that's everybody, right? I mean, everybody starts as a fan first. You're not born a performer or whatever. You know what I mean? If you're like a comedian, you know what I mean? Your favorite, you like comics, and if you make movies, you have favorite movies. Everybody starts as a fan first. Sometimes Eric K thinks about streaming.
When is Eric K going to start? I mean, this charismatic.
We are happy.
Redhead and Brazilian banging. You know what I mean? Superstar Eric K. Living like the life Ric Flair rapped about. I mean, we need to see you on stream.
I'm saying, dude. The world needs a little voice from Eric K. Been doing it so long. Yeah, dude. Do it, man. You're an interesting guy. I enjoyed hanging out with you a lot, man. I thought you were funny. You're fun. You know, you're smart. You're salient. You know, you definitely like, you know, why not, dude? And it's a fucking blast. For no other reason than it's fun. Like, it's, you know, I meet, you know, like Vigilante and fucking Thoth and Jake and Draco and like hang out with these guys and just talk shit. And it's, I don't know what it is about the human soul, man, but when I come and speak my mind and say what I really think, I just feel better.
Yeah, it's like it's weight off your chest.
Yep. And I'm better in conversation now with people, like in real life, because I have this forum where I talk what I speak, what on my mind and what I think, and so I don't have to go off on other people when I like some shit comes up. I don't need to like explain my point of view. I just need to, okay, that's what you think. That's fine. I'm gonna go on my channel and talk about it.
Yeah, because you're way more chill. There's no need to. There's nothing being really held back. You're just and
you're like you're getting it out. So you just, I don't know. I just feel more comfortable with myself because of that.
Yeah, I would agree. So Eric K to quote Shia LaBeouf, just do it. Just do it. Watching that video recently, and it's actually, even though it's funny, especially when he does that like thing you were doing, a little, I don't know, Hulk up thing.
It's so weird, yeah.
He the extra one is the hilarious one. He'll say, just do it, and he'll just toss one in, just that like he's a certain dominance. It's so funny, but like the stuff he said actually is like true. It's about true. He said the thing that keeps getting with me, especially when it comes to this channel, he said if you're tired of starting over, stop giving up. And that's what I think about this channel. There's times where I'm like, I did my Wonder Woman review and there was a copyright claim, and I think that messed it up with the algorithm. It's cleared up now, the claim, but that messed me up. I'm like, man, I put a lot of work into that review for that to happen. It's one of those moments like, God, I'm so sick of like I hate when I put like a ton of work into a video and then it just gets like, I don't need a ton of views. Even if it gets like 20 views, I'll be happy. And it probably will. But like when you have like 4 or 5, it makes you feel like, ugh.
Yeah, I mean, it does. I mean, I put up my podcast yesterday, like my another episode of the MF, just 45 minutes is just doing like, just not just Phantom Menace stuff, just, talking about comedy, talking about this documentary and talking about the video games and shit. And it only has like, I don't know, it's like 11 views last I looked, something like that. It's not a lot. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of a bummer. But it's like, it's talking therapeutic. I mean, there's something about just doing it, just like putting it out there that's like, that's good. And like anyone's listening, like anyone's watching, like that's pretty fucking cool.
Yeah. Yeah. That is definitely true.
Dude, my fucking neighbor is going off on somebody. I just hear like a lot of screaming. It was wild.
Oh man. See, I can't hear it.
That's good. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like it's off. It's like the mic's not picking it up, but I'm just hearing someone screaming about something. Oof. That's
having a happy new year. Yeesh.
Yeah, right. Happy New Year to everybody. Fucking way to ring in the new one. I'm gonna wrap it up, my friend.
All right, man. No problem. I feel like cool that I was able to just hop on.
Yeah, no, dude, it was great to have you. That was a nice little surprise. I mean, I put it in the Discord, but it is what it is. But I saw you in the text, like, dude, jump in. Especially when you said that about Wonder Woman, I was like, I have not heard this take. I need to hear this take.
And so I think it's just me and your boy Zach is the only 2 people I saw with anything positive to say about it.
I love it. I mean, I
it's
like
a flawed movie.
Completely, but I like that you have those takes. I value that. I think it's really interesting. It's like your whole thing with Luke Skywalker. It's like I love that that's your opinion.
Yeah, and then that thing with Luke Skywalker, not to tangent as you try to close, but that I was proven right with the Pablo Hidalgo thing. Like, see, this is why I don't want to give them guys anything.
Yep, I get it. I don't want to either. Like, I don't trust them, and I don't want to have my feelings hurt again. I've been through it so many times with this shit that I'm not willing to try. Like if I'm interested, if I become interested, it'll be like retroactively.
Yeah, that's probably the best way to do it. It's almost like that. Like if you ever break up with a chick and then you get back with her, but it's like years later.
Yeah.
And you're like, wait a second, we're both totally different, and this is not gonna work. And you're like, I don't even really want to do this again. You know what I mean?
That's how
what
I
this
feel
feels
about
like.
it now. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna fall in love with you again because I know you're toxic and I know you've hurt me in the past. So I'm not gonna give you this kind of power.
Absolutely. That's what it's like. And then it's like when you're like that, like, why even be with this person? Maybe, you know what I mean? And that's what it feels like with me. Even though I like The Mandalorian, both seasons quite a bit. I just, but I wasn't that emotionally involved with it until they brought Luke out. And now it's like, okay, now you're fucking with me.
Now you're risking something.
Yeah. Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Yeah. All right. Well, that is that. Vigilante. Everyone check out Vigilante. He's a great guy. Really interesting takes. I love watching your videos. I love hearing your points of view on shit. It's very unique. It's very untethered, and that's we need more of that. More freedom. Eric K, brother. Hail to you, my friend. Thank you for hanging out with us. You are the fucking man. You are the mod Roddick. You are the best, brother.
Eric K. K stands for King. The Wrench King.
K stands for King. And all right. Well, thanks, guys. Thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe over to Vigilante's channel. Hang out, check out the other videos on my channel. Sub if you haven't. Like these. Help the algorithm, helps appease the YouTube gods. And hopefully we'll be able to do more of this stuff if these videos continue gaining traction. But thank you for your viewership.
All right. Peace.
Peace and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.